All right.
And MMA Fools, we're back. Sorry for another delay. I got sick again, but this time not COVID.
It's
so that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's busy anyway.
Yeah, we had a nice string of going back to back there for a while, and we'll be back on it in the new year.
Yeah. Well, we have a bunch of cards. That week of the cards, there's
like
fight
three,
cards.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
How are we gonna do that? Are we gonna get together on like a Thursday and cover it in the middle, or
No.
I work.
Oh, right
I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, we'll just have to do it on a Sunday and
fucking hammer them out.
Yeah, hammer them out. That'll be it.
It's not
5 hour
like we've ever had a
podcast
3-hour
coming
podcast before. I mean,
We're going for 5.
All right, and today we're on a little bit of a time restraint because Brandon's like an adult and stuff.
I know. I have stuff it's lingering over me. I'm like, please, just let's get this started. I have a lot to say about the news and everything. So.
All right, so first we're going to start with a fight card that we did not get to recap because we missed last week, and that is UFC Thompson versus who is it? Neal.
Neal.
UFC Thompson versus Neal.
Neal's the first name, by the way. Just Neal, not even
Neal.
Neal
So before Neal.
We'll be starting with the Tabura versus Hardy fight. Tabura did win by TKO ground and pound in the second round.
Were there any notable prelim fights?
I'm not even going to jump into it. I don't remember. It was nothing like the one card where everything was
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
This main card is really good, though, by the way.
It was good. And actually, in this fight, Greg Hardy at first looked really good. His striking looked better than it ever has.
Yeah, it's really fluid, really crisp.
Yeah, he had some good counters. They weren't as many big, wild, looping punches. He was coming straight down the middle.
His footwork looked better, too.
Yeah,
he's improving.
Yeah, I thought he was going to win the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Tabura didn't have a chance after the first round. And the second round, he got him down to the ground, and it was like, oh, he has no idea what to do.
and also, too, like, not even it's a technical thing, but, like, discouragement. Like, I'm discouraged from being here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be here anymore, so I'm just going to turtle up.
Yeah, and that's literally what happened. He literally just covered up his head with both arms and just laid there and let Tabura just punch him over and over again.
But even in a loss, I did see improvement from Greg Hardy.
The most improvement I've seen from Greg Hardy in any of his
Yeah,
fights.
from fight to fight, I felt like this is his biggest jump. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't win the fight, but...
Well, but now does everybody know just to take him down?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. Looks harder than... He looks like his takedown defense. First level and first,
Everybody should have known that already, though.
Right.
You know? Like,
well, I know he was... I mean, people tried in the past, but they got fucking clobbered for it. So
Yeah.
So like, it looks like, I mean, he's a big guy. It's hard to take him down, regardless of whether or not.
Well, and we had all said that this was the first real test for Hardy.
Because he's been around for a while. He's a legit grappler.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Tabura didn't look bad, but he looked slower and just less refined on the feet.
Yeah, I expected more.
He looked out of shape, too. I mean, it's not like he's ever ripped, but he looked like he was more out of shape than usual.
Right, which is funny because he also, I mean, like, he had the worst gas tank, though, when it came down to it.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe because he did throw so many punches, too, he had a lot of expenditure in his output in the first round, so.
Yeah, he's not used to that and couldn't put him away.
Right, and like, he showed grittiness by staying in there, staying calm, staying composed, and sort of working his game plan eventually over the course of the fight, rather than trying to push for takedowns in the first round when he was fresh. I thought that was pretty smart on Tabura.
Goodbye.
All right, Dave's gone.
See you.
That's it. That's all you want to talk about is Hardy versus Tabura.
I was excited about that one.
Yeah.
We just had to get that in.
Sorry, man. You're the one with the time constraints.
Not this early. We can at least get one more fight.
All right, so then the next fight is actually bantamweight Moraes versus Font. Font won by TKO in the first round.
I was so
And do you want
happy.
to take the lead on this?
What are we gonna
here,
say?
Or?
We gonna say it?
What?
The New
England
England
Cartel,
is that
baby.
it?
Yeah.
But the baby too at the,
The
end.
baby,
Not-
always.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, I was really,
Cartel,
really
dude.
excited to see Rob. His boxing just looked so good.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
everybody out of that camp, it just has such.
Rice just
Crisp
falling off the
boxing.
cliff, though, dude. Like,
He is.
Yeah, it's real bad.
He's afraid to get hit.
Yeah, it was clear that he wanted to take this fight to the ground, which
He did,
was
though.
kind of surprising. And he
Mhm.
did.
I was nervous there for a moment.
I'm like, fuck. Yeah, well, because, like, I didn't like how his takedown defense was not as great. Because, like, Moraes is a great grappler, but he's not like a powerhouse wrestler. So it gives me...
Right. Pause.
Yeah, about, like, Sterling versus Font. Like, unless he puts him away early. It's like,
You think Font can do it? You think he's the man? think he can.
He's kind of
I
old for the
mean-
division too. He's like 33, 34.
They put
So-
him in at number
That
5.
was an impressive win.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So it was just like you said though, the grappling, like the defense with the grappling and stuff worries me. That worries me with Calvin too.
Yeah.
I mean, but I do think that he's got potential in that division for sure.
You can always work on takedown defense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
always something you can always improve every day on.
And when your boxing is that strong, I'd work on it all the time because
Yeah, it
it
doesn't-
did
Yeah.
look great.
It
I
doesn't
mean,
depend on fast twitch. You know, I mean, it is something you can learn.
yeah, I mean, fast twitch definitely helps.
Yeah,
for a
but-
sprawl. But what I will say is it was the weirdest TKO or KO or whatever because Mariah's just like got hit one time and then suddenly went into like slow motion.
Yeah.
Like he just started
jab.
moving so slow.
Was it the jab or the uppercut?
I think it was the jab that was
Jab.
first, yeah.
Was
and,
this-
and then he just kept getting punched directly in the face.
Was this
Yeah.
the one where DC kept saying it should have been called a long
Yeah.
time ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was called exactly when it should have been. I don't know what DC was seeing. Like, oh,
I thought that was an overreaction by DC, and it may be just because Mariah started moving in slow-mo. Like, you don't really see people move
Right.
in slow-mo when they're in fear
Yeah.
of getting knocked out. They usually try to move a little faster. Like, oh,
But
fuck, I got to get out of here.
His
Yeah.
eyes were there. You know what I mean? I felt like
Yeah.
he was still there.
Well, and
like,
immediately after the fight, the ref was, like, holding his head. He was like, dude, I'm all right.
Yeah, yeah. He even, like, put his head off
Yeah.
because-
Like, stop
Like a baby.
holding me.
It was like a
His
baby in
is-
his
He
arms.
looked a little bit like a baby, too. You know, bald.
baby head.
It is crazy though to see like Marlon's
Fall.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I thought he was going to be champion for
Yeah.
a
I
time.
think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan, but
I mean, he's one of those fighters. It's like he's like a Vitor Belfort. If he gets you out of there in the first round, if you sort of lay it on him and he doesn't come back from fights.
Yeah.
BJ Penn was like that too. BJ Penn lost, started losing. He would never come back. He would just be losing.
yeah.
Like if he's a front runner, I think that's the term for it. So if
Yeah.
he doesn't get going first, then it's not there for him. But I mean, he's kind of old too. I think he's like he's only like 31, but he's shot. I feel like he's shot now.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for him. I mean, when that's your reaction to the first clean jab you get hit with, your body just goes into slow-mo. I mean, it was so weird to see.
Right.
It's
And-
a big fall though. I mean, he is only 31, and he was just like maybe about to win the title, and you know, what I mean, and now he's not even in fights. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got to see how Font does and whether or not Font's actually the real deal in terms of the division, because it could turn out that Font's just really fucking good and also top 3.
Right.
So being top 4 isn't that bad, really. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
And Font's boxing, that's the only thing we can really speak of for sure is his boxing did look really good, really clean, really powerful.
Right. And but a part of that too is Marlon was there to be hit and sort of was timid and engaging and didn't want to be punched. It seems like.
Yeah.
And I feel like somebody with more movement, somebody like a Sandhagen, will give Font problems because of he won't be in that range to get punched.
Yeah.
But I guess it's up for Font to sort of work his game plan over to somebody like that.
I feel like they do a very good job of game planning as a camp. They do, like, I don't know.
who is it?
The
The
like
New England cartel
Tyson
baby.
Chartier.
New England Cartel, baby.
I think it's part of the name. It's added
Actually,
in.
after watching that fight, I was like, "Who all is in this New England Cartel?" And I was like,
That's funny.
"Oh, it's Rob Font and Cater."
in the UFC. Yeah.
There it is.
Just 2 fighters.
But that's probably a good thing. They get a lot of the focus. So
I heard it's like a boxing camp. It's like mostly boxing. And
It
there's
looks like it.
obviously like BJJ, but I know there's like I know this comes from a boxing background that like they get like high level boxing training there.
makes sense in New
Probably a
England.
boxing gym where they just have
Added
some
in a
mats
few
on
other
the
coaches.
side, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then the next fight after that, welterweight. Why can't I ever say this name? Michelle Pereira versus
Pereira.
Chaos Williams.
Pereira.
And Pereira wins via decision.
Underwhelming fight, by the way.
Underwhelming
Yeah.
fight. It was actually, I thought it was really close, and I guess maybe just the takedowns won it for Michelle.
Yeah, he was stealing rounds at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was he had more, like he was doing more.
He
though.
had more movement, but
How much of that effective movement
Yeah.
versus ineffective movement?
right, like when you look at the stats, I mean, he was leading in every striking category. It looks like so, and it seemed like he won it happened in every round. He had more strikes. It wasn't just like the overall at the end,
Right.
if I remember correctly.
Chaos episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but like watching the fight, I was like, I don't know how. I'm not seeing
Yeah.
him
It just like
land more.
The
I guess
optics of the
it's-
fight looked weird. It was like I couldn't
Yeah.
tell who was like really. It's like, well, I feel like overall, Michelle won. You know,
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about the fight, I'm like, oh, he won. But then like looking at the stats and actually thinking about the rounds, I'm like, whoa, he didn't do as much. It seems like, but he
Yeah.
kind of did more.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he definitely was
Yeah.
very smart because every time Chaos started to unload, he just wrapped him up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm grabbing you.
Yeah, as
Right.
soon as Chaos would come in, he'd put his head on his head, and
Yeah.
like there's no room for Chaos to get in anywhere.
Yeah. But I was really excited for this fight, and it ended up being a little lackluster for sure.
I kind of
Yeah.
knew the judges were gonna give it to Perea either way. Like even if the stats didn't really bear it out, I was like, to me, it looks like Perea.
The
Perea
optics
won
of
this
it.
fight. Yeah.
Well, and especially how he ended the fight. I mean, he ended on top, constantly. And even though he wasn't maybe landing big, powerful shots, he was constantly throwing.
right.
I'm glad he won.
I'm glad he won too.
Yeah.
I think he still has a lot of potential.
And I feel like the style matchup too. It's like it's not a bad loss for Williams. It's not
No.
like Chaos
No.
got blown out of the water. He arguably won the fight.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like you won't see that many fighters with movement like that in that way of engaging in a fight, in a striking battle, mostly striking battle.
Yeah.
It's like, so he could easily in conjunction go up the division and with the
Right.
right matchups too.
Yeah.
It actually does good for both of them. Like Perea keeps moving up, and Chaos doesn't lose a lot. They're probably gonna stick him in there with somebody noteworthy still.
Mike
like,
Perry.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike Perry.
Seriously.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Mike
I'd
Perry.
watch that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I fear for Mike Perry.
That
in
black on black violence there.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
that. So then the next fight is bantamweight Aldo versus Vera. Aldo won versus decision. We've had quite a few arguments about this fight.
Ready to say, I literally just sat back and watched.
What,
I was
what
like,
do you
I'm
think
just,
about the discussion? Like,
Aldo
mean,
won real quick. Aldo won via decision. If you look at that stats, it doesn't seem like it, but honestly, it seemed to me that Vera needs a lot of work, is what I saw after this fight.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, but it's because Aldo won 2 rounds. I mean,
Yeah,
in the third round, there was no real strikes exchange. He just locked him up for that body triangle and held him the whole round. I mean,
And I just never
Yeah.
really saw any threat to Aldo from Vera. I mean, he had some pressure up against the cage. He didn't even really do that much with it. He landed a lot of leg kicks.
Right.
I don't even remember seeing that many leg kicks. Like, I'd say probably half of those strikes at least are leg kicks. And you would think Aldo wouldn't be able to walk, but he was walking fine.
my
Yeah.
feeling watching the fight was that Vera needed to keep up the pressure. When he had Aldo moving back is when he had success. And I felt like in the second round he started to do that, and even won the round, whatever. I think, and I mean that's obviously why I think he ran out in the third round, ran right up to him because he was like, I got to keep pressuring him. That's the way
Yeah.
to win this fight. I mean, Aldo made a great move and locked him up, but
But
I felt like he was gaining the momentum of the fight, and had Aldo not pulled that move, I don't know what happens. I don't think it doesn't shun Vera to the bottom of the
No.
division.
No.
I think he's still right up there.
I think I question whether or not he stands a chance in the top 10. But I think 15 still probably pretty
he
good
could probably
to where he's at.
inch closer to top 10
Yeah.
than he is now. He could maybe move up.
To me, it's just crazy when you have that many leg kicks and the guy seems completely unfazed. We see fights where guys land 2 leg kicks and their leg is shot.
Broke, yeah.
Aldo kicks banana trees, dog. He's ready.
I mean, that's a difference. There's a difference between kicking banana trees and getting kicked in your knee.
I mean, that's why they do it though, so their shins can take that damage and shit.
Yeah,
like-
but I mean, the guy's not kicking him in the shins. He's not like he's kicking him hopefully
Calves,
right
yeah.
on the inside and outside of the knee.
And I feel like this fight though, it's weird that we've discussed it this much in our chat we have, because it's like it's sort of like it boils down to really how you like look at the fight. It really does. Like
Yeah.
it's just weird which side you not take, because it's not like it's no one's trying to be biased. But,
Right.
like it's just what perspective you look at the fight, whether or not something is like smart, something is like an effective game plan, something like it's just all these different variables in the fight game. So it's like, Aldo worked for that position he got, and like I know what Kyle's saying by he ran and was sort of overzealous getting there, but also it shows an adjustment too, and a lack of adjustment or the foresight to watch out for.
Yeah.
Your back
Vera,
being
I mean,
being
Vera
taken,
better
so.
take that and go learn from it. You know what I mean? Like this can happen to you, dude.
He really better, because I've never seen somebody just stuck in a triangle with almost zero threat of submission or strikes for almost an entire round.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get out of it. I mean, that was just so weird to me.
And I mean, and it's like I've seen people get out of it, but it's like, should I say he should like bait him with like a choke just to create a scramble? I don't know if you should do that in the fight, because then you can get choked.
Yeah.
So it's like about risk versus reward in that third round. So either of them were really going for much, but like the dominant positions, that's what's winning the fight.
Right.
I mean, the one thing that is for sure is when it was all said and done, it was a clear win for Aldo. He won the first round, looked a lot better in the striking game than Cheeto. The second round, coin flip, they gave it to Vera, and then the third round,
how do you give that to anybody but Aldo?
Yeah, the third round was a dominant position the entire round by Aldo. So
and also Vera, I feel like he's good, but like his game, what I've seen, and like he doesn't have that many offensive threats that can really change the fight in an instant. He sort of works as like a snowball sort of fighter. He builds up steam.
Yeah, he is known as a slow starter though,
Right.
and like I think that hurt him in this fight, and
For
did
sure,
well
yeah.
for Aldo in this fight.
Because the fourth round could have been way different
Yeah.
if you survived the round, and maybe Aldo. I don't know how tired Aldo is in that fourth round.
Maybe his legs are
Yeah.
tired
Hypothetically
now. Like,
I'd be surprised if he was at all tired after that round, because he basically just got to lay on his back the entire round. I mean, and he wasn't putting much effort in to try to submit him or to try to pound him out.
Right.
He was literally just laying there, like he was.
Right.
He could have taken a nap with that triangle.
but a fourth round, Vera's gonna be like,
Yeah.
I can't get back in that fucking.
right. But like it's up to you and your coaches to game plan a fight based on the rounds you
the
have.
rounds you got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if that was the case, Nick Diaz would be undefeated in some hypothetical endless round scenario where he just outlasts everybody and
Right.
beats the shit out of you. But
Vera
I mean,
needs to start fighting 3-round fights though.
right, that's what I mean.
Especially when
yeah,
you're ranked 15, you're not going to be
Yeah,
getting a
you're
lot
not-
of main
right,
events. You know what I
right.
mean?
right, and like you have to sort of adjust and like get started faster, make sure that first round is like that snowball's built up faster for yourself if you do need momentum to win a fight.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to work with the momentum already and
I
create
think
it
it's
faster.
a huge learning experience for him, and I think he's gonna bounce back.
Yeah, he's fairly young. He's like 27, so it's
Yeah.
not like this loss is terrible.
No.
He didn't get knocked out, didn't get submitted. He's lost decisions before and still improved on himself. And like Aldo shows that he's a smart fighter, and sort of made up for his gassing issues by pacing himself and being smart in the third round.
Yeah, in no way do I think like, okay, Vera, well, it's time for you to like get
Pack
out of the
it up,
UFC.
yeah.
I just think that he needs to take this loss and learn a lot from it, because, in my opinion, he did look outclassed.
And
I
this
mean,
is a stacked division. It's
Yeah.
very deep.
yeah, it's very deep. I mean, do any of us see Jose Aldo making a title run?
No.
I mean, I think
No.
our contention on the word outclass is just what do you define outclassed as?
No.
I wouldn't say the term outclassed. Like, I mean, he was clearly not the better fighter or the more experienced fighter, but like you landed more. I mean, it's hard for me to say you were totally outclassed when you were in there with him. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's hard to argue anything but that was a dominant win by Jose Aldo. And to me, Cheeto Vera didn't look like he's going to, at the moment, beat anybody in the top 10.
But styles make fights for like in his defense too. Aldo's very durable for the rounds he's in. He sort of like falls apart at the end of his fights.
like you
now.
said, does anybody else take those leg kicks like that?
Right.
Yeah.
He might chop somebody else down.
Yeah.
I think yes. I don't care if Jose Aldo shoots up cement in his legs. Like when you get hit with 45 leg
Sean
kicks,
O'Malley didn't fucking take him.
when you
Well,
get well,
he's paper thin.
right,
Made of paper mache.
and we
It's like
we already know he has issues with his legs,
Mm.
but. When you get hit with 45 leg kicks in a fight, I believe that you should be seeing a noticeable limp.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care who you are. That seems
Yeah.
crazy to me.
But like Aldo was competitive with Peter Yan for the first 3 rounds until he got beat. Really, he really
Right.
was. It was
Yeah.
a close fight until he lost.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about Aldo's skill level and the way he can venture on. And if he is in 3-round fights, I have him a good chance of winning most of his fights. Honestly,
It's not like Aldo's fucked. I mean, it seems he's been like right on the edge of maybe getting another title here and there in both those divisions. Like he pops around and he loses a close decision, or
Yeah.
what have you.
And honestly, if he starts implementing that grappling game more often, it might really save some of his gas tank.
Yeah.
Right.
It could extend his career quite a bit.
You see how Overeem did that too. Overeem was getting knocked out a
Yeah.
bunch, and he relies on his grappling a lot more than he used to.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it's a slight against him. It's just a fact of where he's at in his career. If your gas tank's terrible, striking wise for 3 rounds, you add a new wrinkle to your game and start using something else.
Yeah.
And it's just like, smart approach.
Right.
All right, so then the last fight, the main event, was at welterweight, Thompson versus Neal. Thompson did win by decision. My note I had was Thompson honestly really put on a clinic in this fight.
Dominated him.
Yeah.
But he's also too nice.
Yeah, he just is.
Like he would hurt Neal and then be like, "Hey man, you okay?"
It was like his fight
What do
with Vicente Luque too. They were
Yeah.
doing that in that fight too.
But like Thompson actually looks better than ever. Really,
Yeah,
he
it
looks
looks
just
good.
as good as he's ever been. He's like 37 years old.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
His movement was incredible.
Yeah, it's very fluid.
His striking was awesome, and he was not afraid multiple times in the fight to get into a slugfest.
I
Right.
felt like Neal had his chances and wasn't aggressive enough when he had them.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's hard to be aggressive with.
it is because
Stephen
of the way
Thompson.
he moves.
Yeah.
But I also felt like Thompson. There was moments when like Neal could have came in and started swinging on him, and Thompson put up for the high five, and like just stalled out when it was about.
There
to
were
happen.
a lot of high fives.
Yeah, like I feel like he was like, "No man, let's high five
That's
first."
a great
All right, let's get
offensive
back
threat.
into it.
If your game isn't relying upon anger or angry energy in the fight, if you just could be nice and be like, and also move
all good,
around,
bro.
yeah, like
Right.
and that dude needs to knock your head off to win, and you're high fiving him, he's taking him and
I don't know
diffusing
what to
you.
do with this.
I mean,
But is it hard to picture a guy fighting for a championship that's going to ask you if you're okay if he rocks you?
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like it's just situational too. Like I don't have any doubt that like if Thompson was in a fight and he actually rocked somebody like and actually knocked him down, he's finished fights before. It's not like he's It's not like he's picking up Robert Whitaker off the ground and high fiving him and like like, you're right.
You're okay,
You know?
sport.
Get up, buddy.
Yeah,
You're okay, champ. Get there.
but it's just like
Okay, champ.
I mean, like maybe he understands that Jeff Neal was like his first time in the main event. It's like
Yeah.
and like maybe he does need a little bit of edge. And like there's no edge in the fight. Jeff Neal's a nice dude too. Seemingly, I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like a really nice dude.
And-
Absolutely.
And like it's just the fight was what it was. I think it's just a dominant performance. Neal can grow from this. There's not another Stephen Thompson in the division. Sort of like the Chaos Williams fight. You're not gonna meet somebody
Yeah.
else like that.
Yeah.
So like he could easily be top 5 too. Just Thompson still looks really good.
It's like
So-
you got to
Yeah.
fight Thompson to learn about Thompson. Like,
Right.
There's just
Yeah, 'cause
nobody else that
there's
can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy how
That
much
can
like
move and strike like him.
Woodley though. How much Woodley like was a threat. Like it's crazy to even imagine Woodley even being anywhere near Thompson in terms of skill level now because Woodley fucking had
Yeah.
him on his ass in 2 different fights.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
rocked.
But really just caught him with a punch. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not like he landed a lot on Thompson.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Neither of them landed a lot on
Looking
the
at
other.
Woodley today, I'd be like, dude, he wouldn't even touch Thompson.
Well, because
like,
he's not even close to being as
Yeah.
explosive as he was.
No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's it for that. We should look at matchups.
Right.
So we're going to be starting at
heavyweight.
Which, honestly, I mean, how much are we really looking at this?
True.
You know what I mean?
There's not much really going on. There's the same like 5,
Keep
6
scrolling
names.
down. All right, so
I
there's.
mean, Tybura's 14.
Walt Harris.
So have him fight Sakai, maybe?
Yeah.
Where's Hardy at?
No.
Where's Hardy?
Well, Tabura win.
Yeah, but
won,
Hardy's
so.
like 35. Like he's like low.
Yeah, Tybura. I mean, Walt Harris and Tybura, I don't think is a bad fight.
Yeah.
That's fine. And also, I'd say Hardy and Tanner Boser would be all right.
Yeah, I'd watch Hardy and Tanner
Yeah.
Boser. Yeah,
It'd be a striking battle.
yeah,
That's what I want to see out of Hardy.
yeah.
But also, Hardy does need more tests. Like he needs to see. Eventually, he needs to see if he can be on the ground on his back and not fucking collapse.
Give him
Yeah,
Gustafson.
and
Yeah.
not just turtle up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so then we're going to be looking at bantamweight. Pretty much looking for Font here because I don't know if any
Font's
of us-
number 5 now, so
Yeah.
he has to be right there.
They haven't updated it.
Well, it's just not the same as the UFC. It's
Yeah.
It's different. So
He could do the winner of Munoz and Rivera if he wants to stay busy. He could do. the loser of the title fight, maybe even between
Or-
Jan and
Yeah.
Sterling.
Winner of Frankie Edgar and Sandigan.
Yeah.
That's probably the number one contender after the title
That
fight.
probably,
Yeah,
that
but-
probably is the number one contender.
But they still got to give Sterling his shot.
Yeah, when's that fight being rebooked for?
They haven't said. I don't think.
I hate that shit.
yeah,
If Aldo
son of a
wins
bitch.
again,
We
they-
finally got it, and then
I
we're not going to
know.
get it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking April.
Aldo
Yeah.
versus
It's going to
Font?
be 2022.
Yeah.
Edgar's gonna be 39 by that point, and it's like aged out of the division.
Jose
Yeah.
Aldo versus Font. I mean, I know Aldo's ranked lower, but like
Not only is he ranked lower, but
He's-
the guy he just won against was ranked 15. So I kind of have a problem with that fight. I would say Garbrandt, Munoz, or the loser of the title fight.
Garbrandt wants to
busy,
fight Aldo.
dude. Yeah, Garbrandt's
Mm.
busy,
Yeah, he wants
Yeah.
to fight Aldo if he doesn't get the title shot at
Yeah.
flyweight. So
and yeah, the flyweight.
That'd be a fun fight to watch.
or
Garbrandt
also,
versus Aldo.
If
Cruz beats Casey Kenny, he could maybe fight Font.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
He would
true.
need a relevant fight if he actually won another fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's because like if Cruz gets one win, he's automatically
yeah, he's
in the discussion for
contention.
fighting contenders,
Right.
just based on who he is.
Yeah.
Uh,
I really like the idea of the
Pedro.
winner of Munoz versus
Yeah.
Rivera or the loser of Sterling Jan.
I don't know how Munoz is so high still. Like
I don't
that seems
understand
crazy.
either.
yeah,
He
like
lost twice.
he lost. Yeah, he lost to Sterling.
Well,
and
but
Edgar.
he did lose to two people that are ranked above him.
Right.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like he's I don't know. He's
One of them's
probably-
fighting for the title. So, all right. So I think that's all we really have on that. Mariah's take a really nice step down. Fight Uriah Faber.
I would think Cruz would be ranked ahead of Munoz right now.
So then we are going to welterweight for Pereira.
Pereira.
I'm wondering where he's ranked at now.
He's
It's probably still pretty
Like
low,
50.
huh?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Really? Damn.
fight Nico Price.
Yep,
man.
Nico
That'd be a
Price,
great
done deal.
fight, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
sign me up.
Two maniacs is fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be
I'm
a
in.
great
Whenever
fight.
his marijuana suspension is up.
Or even honestly, if he fought fucking
Dude,
Mike
where-
Perry
he's
too.
Not even,
Yeah, he's right there at 37.
Oh my god, he should be way above that though.
Like how is he? How is he?
Of-
Who the fuck's Claudio Silva?
Like
Yeah.
fake Cowboys above him. Come on, dude.
We actually saw Claudio Silva fight not that long ago.
Yeah, he fought against
James
fucking-
Krause.
yeah, and it looks terrible.
Terrible.
Like
Yeah.
or also like Chinchenko
Miguel-
lost to fucking. His last one was against Yushin Okami.
How
What
about
year is this?
Pereira?
Yeah, what year is this?
Pereira
That's
versus Miguel Beza.
Yeah.
I really like the Nico Price. I think that's
Yeah,
I think
but
that's
he's
excellent.
isn't he suspended?
Yeah, but
For-
who knows for
for
how
like
long?
weed.
It's weed. It can't
6
be that
months.
long of a
It's weed,
suspension.
That's nuts. He's suspended over weed.
Right, it's absurd.
I mean, he should have a smoker right before the fight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What's crazy is Chaos. I'd still like to see him fight somebody up too. I don't want to see him.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him fight somebody
No
behind.
reason
Yeah.
to drop him for
Yeah.
sure.
Where's he at?
He was behind Pierre
Oh,
by a
man.
couple
I mean, he's
What
like,
a stacked
with his
division,
bullshit
man.
name.
yeah. I like how Hamzat's 32 now.
He's 43.
Hamzat's 32. Like
Yeah.
the upwards and
Yeah, fighting Leon Edwards,
Yeah, like-
the number 3 or 4 guy in the division. Scroll up. What do they have him ranked on here?
Probably
Leon
3.
Edwards, all the way up. He's going to be in like the top 5. No, they took him out.
Oh, did they remove? Well, the UFC may still have him ranked.
yeah.
Yeah, the UFC probably still has him ranked, but they took him out. But he's probably in the top 4.
Yeah.
So then we're looking at Jose Aldo, which we kind of talked about. Maybe a Cody Garbrandt fight. That fight seems like a lot of fun if he doesn't get the title fight.
Right.
Yeah, I like that fight. I don't think there's really too much to look
If
into
Cody
there.
gets the title shot, he could actually Aldo could fight Font. I'd watch
Yeah.
that fight.
Yeah.
And I like the
Yeah.
and then I like the idea of doing that rematch with Cheeto versus O'Malley, especially with all the nonsense O'Malley is saying.
Yeah, like O'Malley was trying to fight Thomas Almeida. Like, you can't call it Thomas Almeida and actually sign to fight him and act like you're relevant. Like, really, you need to
Right.
fight. Like, Thomas Almeida hasn't been relevant since Cody Garbrandt knocked him out like 4
But
years
it
ago.
kind of
Yeah, I was gonna
it kind
say
of
it's
has
been
set
a
up for
while.
that rematch, though. You know what I mean? Because it's still an appropriate ranking-wise fight, and it's like if O'Malley really thinks he can talk all that shit, really thinks he
Yeah.
can beat him, let's see it. Like,
And on the UFC website, real quick, just point out Leon Edwards is ranked number 4 at welterweight.
Yeah, makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
Damian Maia needs to get out of it. Like I don't even think
Him
of him as
and
a
Tyrone
contender.
Woodley.
Yeah, they're not even contenders
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Like, why is Tyrone Woodley 5?
Yeah, that's insane to
He
me.
hasn't
Oh.
won since Till.
Yeah.
Till's not in the division anymore.
Yeah, it's fucking
Robbie
absurd.
Lawler's number 11 still.
Robbie Lawler, I can't remember the last time he won.
Yeah.
I literally can't.
It's been a rough go.
I would have to like Wikipedia. it.
Magny's got a
Yeah.
fight. Do you have that in the news?
Yeah, I have that in the news. So let's go and look at the matchup for welterweight. Again, we're going to be looking at Thompson. Let's go. Where's Thompson
I'd
at?
like to see
7.
him rematch Masvidal.
Yeah, but Masvidal's probably
Hopefully he's going to
Want
fight
some bigger-
Covington.
That would be, I want
Thompson
that fight.
versus Diaz. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
If I-
And I don't really see another fight for Thompson, to be honest
If
with you.
Diaz would take it, I think that'd be an awesome fight to make.
I think
but-
he'd beat the shit out of Nate Diaz.
Yeah,
Me too.
I think it'd be great.
The movement would be too much. He would just chew him up.
Yeah, but who else is he going to fight? I mean, he can't. There's nobody for him to fight above him. You're not going to put him up against Tyrone Woodley
Yeah,
again.
because Woodley's not number 5.
I don't
Shut
know if-
up.
And nobody wants to see that.
no,
I would,
no,
I would like to see
no.
Covington fight Covington.
Yeah,
Because I don't know if Masvidal is even fight. Like,
is that's the
If
fight they're
if
trying to
if
make.
Masvidal and Covington don't end up fighting, then I would like to see Stephen Thompson
Yeah.
'Cause that's-
versus Covington.
it's a way different
Yeah.
matchup.
Yeah,
Like I can't imagine the matchup in terms of like how it plays out
Yeah.
because that pressure on Thompson. Thompson's hard to get against the cage. Very
Yeah.
difficult.
Usman
he did
Burns,
call out.
yeah.
He did actually call out after his fight, Masvidal.
Yeah.
Said the BMF versus the whatever nicest man alive.
Nicest
BMF.
motherfucker.
I think he'd beat Masvidal again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility.
He seems like he's like the worst matchup for most people in the division, honestly.
Because his
Honestly,
style's so
absolutely,
awkward
it's
and
so different. That karate stance and the way he,
Bounces around.
the way
and-
the way he, his angles of entry are just
Yeah.
wild.
Mhm.
And he's in that last fight, he seemed to be landing a lot stiffer than he normally does too.
And like I feel like he's like a more interesting matchup to Usman than most people, just based on this. Like
Yeah,
Usman, like he's not he's a decent striker. He's not he's not very.
it's not great.
No, and
No.
like also, he doesn't seem like Usman's very like deliberate and very. He seems kind of slow for how big and strong he looks. He seems kind of slow. It seems like he'd have trouble getting him against the cage and clenching him and getting him down.
Yeah,
He's the overwhelming horde. He just comes at you.
He does, yeah.
Come here.
and it's like, I don't even know if that's enough because I've never seen Usman even shoot like a double. It seems like he gets most of his takedowns off his cage. Same thing with Colby. Colby's wrestling against the cage is really good, but if you're not against the cage, what's it going to look like in the middle of the mat, you know?
Right.
yeah.
So I'd like to see these matchups eventually. I feel like Thompson still is right there. He's, you know, I feel like he's actually like a better candidate like than Masvidal. Masvidal is like, he's great, but kind of overinflated now based off the
Yeah.
Diaz win and the Askren win.
Askren.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's sort of ranked based off of just his like notoriety as like a top
Oh yeah,
player.
because that Askren win.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
It was excellent, but it's like fucking how
Askren's gonna get knocked out by Jake Paul or
and
whatever.
it's gonna be it's gonna be awful.
Did you see that chill video about that when he's like saying like Askren's an athlete? Like
Askren
it doesn't
told-
matter if he could fucking shot put. I don't care
Yeah.
you know, what he runs or
Yeah, it doesn't mean he can box.
no.
Askren told everybody to bet the farm on him knocking Paul out. I'm like, you're an asshole, dude.
Oh,
You're gonna cost everybody a bunch of money. Like,
right.
The fact that we're even talking about that.
Yeah,
can
I'm trying
happen
to
is
just move
like,
past
what?
it, actually.
What?
So, Jorge Masvidal, honestly, though, I think his loss to Kamaru Usman is actually, I think that actually increases his stock as well. Because he took it short notice, and really it was kind of a boring fight, but it was boring because he made sure Usman couldn't truly implement his game plan. I mean, half of Usman's strikes in that might have been foot stomps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean it's hard. It's very tricky to rank somebody based off losses,
Yeah.
and like you sort of rank them based. It's like do you rank them off merit or performances? And it seems like there's no good formula to sort of combine those things
Yeah.
into an accurate
gotta go with your
ranking.
gut, man.
Yeah, so it's like you sort of have to do a little bit of both. So I could see why he'd still be ranked high
Yeah.
just based off the
Yeah.
loss, but
Yeah,
So-
based on he had 2 weeks to prepare all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And went it went to a decision, right? And
Yeah.
and-
Usman didn't look that great. He looked like
Yeah.
nullifying.
Yeah, and Masvidal did not let him implement his game plan. Didn't look beat up or really tired after the fight. You know what I mean? It just was.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the order I'm going to go in from here is go news, then the fan questions that Nicolette got on her Instagram, and then our picks of the year.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So jumping into news, the first thing I have on here, because I think it is of the utmost importance, is Diego Sanchez on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
The news of the year.
Is this real? Let's see what you got here,
It doesn't
Jacob.
appear to be just him. It's him and his little buddy, whatever that guy, his guru.
Yeah, that picture didn't look great. I mean, good for them if that's
yeah,
what's
that's
going
what-
on, but
I don't know,
it looked a little weird.
It's suggestive.
Well, he does have an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
If
Follow it
it's-
for free.
and it's free?
Oh.
Oh. Yeah,
It's a
just
sparring session.
go ahead and click follow
Go ahead,
for free.
Is it?
You need to sign up.
Oh, it's-
Oh,
Oh,
you got to
too
sign
much.
up. Okay, don't worry. Yeah,
Can't
it's too
have
much to
money.
go through. Okay, so it is real. Let's see. Just see what it says. In sparring
There's
session.
no like Randy Couture videos on there, is there?
Uncover the mystery of living legend Diego Sanchez. Unlock exclusive behind-the-scenes information about my UFC career, the guidance I've received through School of Self-Awareness, and my journey to personal growth.
I think it says
Also my asshole.
Jesus Christ.
I think it says last seen a few seconds ago. Like he's on there right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Send him a message on there. Okay.
It's like I'm looking at the same moon.
So yeah, okay, it is real. He does have an OnlyFans.
Doesn't seem to be new. I don't see any like nude videos.
Yeah, despite what Kyle said, it doesn't look like there's going to be any butthole pics.
Oh.
So
Disappointing. He's not doing OnlyFans right. He's doing it very
that's
wrong.
not how you do OnlyFans.
I love in our group chat that we have for the podcast. Brandon was like, "We should all throw in on it.
It's free.
It's free. Worked out perfect."
Yeah. I will pitch in towards free.
I got
day.
free 93 on it.
I don't know how, like, why, like, if you're going to do it for free, like you said, why wouldn't you use Twitch? Because this is literally a gold mine.
It's you.
A gold mine.
It's you and like e-girls. Like, like it's like that's the only guy on OnlyFans. That's
Oh
not
my god.
It's not-
jerking off.
It's not doing porn.
Yeah, it's like different platform.
Does he
might
give
appeal to me.
requests? Does Diego-
Cal,
We
do
need to-
not request gross things
Let's
from
see
Diego
what we can get him
Sanchez.
to do.
Oh my god.
Let's just see what we can get him to do.
Start with something simple like, "Hey, drink a Coke."
Yeah.
I see. I
And then
see.
the
it
next request is just like outlandish shit. Like, whoa! Escalated quickly. Dude.
Fuck yeah.
I wonder if he
Oh
like
my
responds
God.
to messages. Like if we send him a message like, "Hey, come on our podcast and fucking come."
I bet
be
you he would.
interviewed."
Didn't he already say? He already said he would come on the
I can
podcast.
do
Wait, you
that.
already talked to him about it. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Let's get him to
So-
do a cameo, one of those.
One of those cameos. I thought about using Cameo to try to do advertisements for the podcast,
Yeah.
like pay like super
Who, though?
celebrities,
Yeah.
and I don't know anybody,
Connor.
but
Connor.
you're not allowed to use them for advertisement.
Oh.
Yeah, ain't that some bullshit?
Like who's making that rule up? Cameo.
Cameo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, it's a smart rule because that's most people would have did.
Yeah, everybody. I that's why I thought it was a genius idea. Like nobody's doing this,
Yeah.
and then that's why nobody's doing it.
Because you can't.
Right? Because
it's
it's
kind of
not
fucked
allowed.
up though. I mean, it's kind of fucked up. You can't use
Yeah.
it for whatever. Like,
Like I'm paying him.
There's
Yeah.
no free lunch.
Yeah, it's not free. You pay him.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's a
it's-
little bit of money to like a Conor McGregor say your name is just
Yeah,
like, that's
and it's
millions.
expensive to be honest with
Connor's
you.
not taking cameo requests. He's not like he's not like
Yeah.
that's not a source
Yeah,
of income.
that's
If he
for him.
was, it'd be a lot of money, dude.
It'd be like
some of
fucking
those people, it's like
$10,000.
some of those people, it's like $5,000-$10,000 to
Yeah.
do a cameo. It's like
Let's
get the
just let
fuck
my
out of here.
Instagram grow a little bit more. I'm sure we'll be able to get some good ones here. I'm trying.
I wonder if the lowest level UFC fighter would do a podcast right now, hypothetically.
I
Like,
bet
what's
you-
the bottom? Like Casey Kenny probably would do the podcast.
I bet you would be surprised about how many would do the podcast, because when you go on there and you look and see how many like followers and stuff they have, a lot of fighters that you know pretty well barely have any followers.
Yeah, we should get that Jordan guy, the weirdo guy, to do it.
Levski or whatever. How do you say his
Levitt?
name?
Levitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Like, he seems like he'd be like fucking weird enough to do it.
Yeah.
Like he was just like. What,
And I would love to talk to him.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, honestly, he looks like an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have somebody on the podcast that I didn't really like. Like, I don't really like Diego Sanchez. I don't care how much of a he is. He creeps me out kind of.
Yeah, it would
Right.
just be awkward the
Yeah,
whole
like-
time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and honestly, like, what do we say to him? Like, because I'm not going to be like, well, dude, you're awesome.
Yeah, because like I don't think that.
Yeah, I'd be like, so, career's been a real struggle lately.
It
huh?
turned into an episode of Intervention.
Like, hey man, you ever thought about getting a real coach?
Yeah. This asshole sitting next to you. Can you get rid of him?
We literally have to have Josh Fabian on here too. There's no way he'd do it by himself.
Yeah.
Back here.
And then if he came on and that guy was sitting next to him, I'd be like, Dago, if he's on the screen, I'm not going to talk to him. Like this, I'm going to cancel this right now.
Imagine them coming through the door, Dave, like of your house, like Diego Sanchez, Josh Fabian walking through the door.
I'm like, nope, get out.
Yeah,
No.
like this is too fucking weird. You guys have to leave right now. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we wasted your time.
I'm not ready for this. I'm not professional enough to do this to you.
Yeah.
I'm not mentally prepared.
I'm not really
Or
a big fan of
physically.
you, and I'm afraid it's going to come out, and then you might actually beat my ass.
Yeah.
You
probably-
Be your first win in 5 years.
Fucking chase you with a knife or something
Oh
like that.
my god! Yeah, lock up everything sharp.
I will beat the shit out of your coach, though.
Yeah, there's no way you're losing to that guy.
Yeah.
We're just fantasizing
we
about
could-
being
we
mean
could
to
jump
Diego.
Hey, if all four of us men and you who have MMA training a little bit,
Yeah.
jump them too, we'd probably win.
There's a good chance. I like our odds.
This kid should have a knife.
Because let's be
though.
honest, I'm going to hit him with stuff that's in here.
Yeah,
Just completely unscrew this and just whack.
I bet you that would really get a lot of views.
Yeah.
if we just had a few
TMZ.
twisted tea cans
World
around
Yeah. It'll be Bang energy drinks.
to the face.
And beer bottles.
That's a perfect Bang commercial. It's like as soon as it
Wait,
hits,
though,
it just
like-
says bang,
Bang.
above it.
Look at all the
Bang.
glass bottles we have. At our
Hey,
disposal.
don't you dare.
It's not worth winning.
There's a lot of money in that bourbon.
I'm just kidding.
You'd rather lose the fight than break those bottles, right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's just hope they don't go for him first.
Oh my god. Oh, if they do, I'm stabbing somebody. It'll
My
be a
bird.
murder right here on this podcast.
Catch a murder charge.
There's no way anyone else coming on this podcast if they see this episode. No one coming on
Yeah.
here.
Nobody ever. At least not without bodyguards.
I'm not even coming back to the podcast. This is the last episode.
We'll have to preface it with like, hey, you can bring like protection if you want.
Because we'll jump you. All of us will jump you.
Wear a helmet and a condom, dude.
Oh my god.
We don't have anything to lose by not jumping you. Like,
Right. It's for sure gonna get views, and we need them.
come fight us on the podcast, basically. We should probably trade a little bit because we may be tough.
You ever heard of street beefs?
Oh my god. I'm
Didn't
dying.
you say you did jiu-jitsu for a while?
Yeah, I did grappling a little bit, so I'm not like fucking. I
Stupid.
would never win a fight against somebody who was training.
Who's an actual
Right.
trained fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably lose to people who weren't trained. I could lose anyone.
That's
actually.
also a possibility.
Well, yeah.
Guy's never even seen jujitsu,
Yeah.
and he might still win.
He's big and strong.
Oh man, that's
my
funny.
God, what the fuck just happened?
All right, so let's
Anyway.
move on to the next bit of news, and it is Anthony Pettis actually leaves the UFC, and he is headed to PFL's lightweight division.
Well, we saw that coming.
No more Wheaties boxes for him, I guess, right? There's
Yeah.
not gonna be another Wheaties.
I don't
box.
know if he wins the $1 million
That's a
tournament. He might.
paycheck,
Or it
though.
was you that was saying like he should probably go try to win that $1 million.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
sure I'm
Well,
sure that's why he went there.
He's not the only one. Rory went too.
Yeah.
So did Verdum.
Mm-hmm.
I like
yeah.
That's right.
I like how in his
Not bad.
post-fight interview though he's like I think I'm gonna drop back down to lightweight. He just left out the part where he's like and also going
Also.
to PFL.
Yeah,
The crushed cans at PFL. Like,
But honestly, I
hey,
didn't
why
even.
not? It's $1 million.
Yeah, it's a smart move for him.
Well, and I didn't even think about that. Honestly, that's some 3 big signings for PFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that. There. I mean, that's pretty big.
They have a decent like named athletes that are fighting for them right now.
Where did
They
they
get
get
that. What is it? Kayla Harrison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
She's
wrestler.
Where did they get money?
They got that boxer that just went over there too.
Shields.
Clarissa Shields. Yeah.
Like how do they pay? They pay like they do this a lot, right? Where they
They
Pay
had, had
somebody-
3
They like
seasons,
poach
I
people.
think.
Yeah, I don't know. But then they this whole year they didn't run anything
Mm-mm.
really. So
Yeah, but they're on ESPN now, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a weird like who's funding this? Like
Yeah.
how deep are the pockets of PFL to like fucking sign people?
Well,
With no
I think
events.
I don't know.
And give
Well, if you have an
$1 million
ESPN deal, I mean, you got to
yeah,
have
they must
some
be
money.
getting good money from Disney.
Yeah.
I don't like how he says I'm still young in this game because like dude, the Showtime kick was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're objectively not.
And
You're
young
old
this game.
in this game.
Yeah.
You're young in real life.
And you arguably flash knocked out Wonder Boy.
Yeah, and that was his last really relevant one.
He did talk about, and he looked pretty good. That was the one prelim fight on this last card, and he actually did look decent.
Yeah.
Not great, but decent. And he did recently talk on a bunch of different podcasts, like with Ariel Hawani and stuff like
Right.
that, about how he was really going through some dark times with like alcohol and partying. Like I forget
Yeah.
what fighter he said.
No, I feel it.
What fight he
Very
what fight-
parallel situation. You and
Yeah.
Anthony Pettis.
what fight he said he took. Like they called him and they were like, yeah, I'll take that fight, and he was hammered when he said he would take it, and it was in a couple of weeks or something.
Didn't he get submitted by
Diego
Fierro?
Fiero. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the most.
Was that
hot,
this year?
No.
He's
last
the
year.
most
Last
hot
year?
and cold fighter though. Like
That might have
Where
been
was
this
it
year.
this- I
It's the
don't
longest
know.
year of anyone's
I
life.
know.
I feel like every 6 months it's like, well, it's over for Anthony Pettis. Oh, he could make like a title run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
He
hard to tell.
He doesn't seem as dynamic. It's just like even though he looked good, he does seem a little bit slower. His body just looks a little slower.
Yeah, it looks like he probably
Yeah.
needs to focus more on the technique of boxing instead of the flashy stuff that he used to do.
Yeah.
It's nice to maybe mix in here and there, but it's not going to be his forte anymore.
I wonder if they'll make McDonald versus Pettis in PFL eventually. Like if that's going to be because like if he goes up to welterweight again,
Yeah.
that's
it's
the
a
biggest fight they could
possibility.
have in any of those divisions. I
isn't
imagine.
it possible they clash in the tournament for the $1 million?
I think he's going to do the lightweight tournament.
Yeah,
though.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
because he's going to
Yeah,
lightweight.
McDonald ain't making it down there.
No,
No.
no.
I wonder who'd win because it's like two kind of shot fighters fighting.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it seemed like that
Ooh.
Robbie Lawler fight took like everything out of Rory McDonald.
And then he fought Moose, and that was just a mauling.
Yeah, and then like even like the wins he has is like he doesn't look like he doesn't seem like he's violent anymore. I know he's like
Well,
really
he said
religious.
that too.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted to,
Retire.
step away for a while.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have that drive to hurt somebody, you're in the wrong. I guess unless you're Wonderboy Thompson, who doesn't seem like he has any drive to hurt anybody, but
Yeah.
still wins. You know, but I think Rory, when he first came to UFC and was like getting his wins against Diaz, and he seemed very violent. I remember him
Very
like,
violent.
Oh yeah,
His ground and
the
pound was
Red
vicious.
King.
Yeah.
That fucking Robbie Lawler fight was maybe the most violent fight I've ever seen in
But
my
I
life.
feel like when you have your nose, like that's one thing that I worry about with Calvin fighting is his nose got really, really broke, and Rory's nose got really broke
you're
multiple
hesitant
times.
to-
He
so,
looked like Voldemort
Yeah.
after that fight.
I mean, messes with your cardio and everything.
yeah,
like,
you're never the same fighter. It looks like when you get your nose broken so severely like that, and multiple times over and over.
I mean,
Just
it's-
a war like that, period.
You're
'Cause
always gonna get punched in the
arguably
face.
Robbie Lawler wasn't really quite the same after that either.
Mhm.
And
Did
that
he
was
have
like,
surgery to fix his nose? Like,
yeah.
He had to have. It was
yeah,
flat.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They had to I feel like they had to put like
Mm.
airbags up there to reinflate it because
God.
it was crazy.
That is just I don't.
I mean, he lost just simply because he was like he took
I
another
cannot
punch to
take
the
another
nose and he was
shot
like, nope,
in the
we're not
nose.
doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
He's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
I can't. Like broken noses are one thing that I
Yeah.
visually just makes me.
I've had my nose
squirm.
broke, but I've never been punched in it immediately after. Like,
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, mine's like cracked because I smacked it off a barricade at the altar bar. But like that's all. Like,
It's a
it's
different-
not like broke. So I don't know what it feels like to break my nose.
So you lost the fight to a barricade.
Yeah, big crowd.
He'll get a
surfer got
rematch
thrown on
eventually.
top.
you might need
No, I retired.
you
I'm
might
done with shows.
you might need two Applebee's fights in order to get ranked. Actually,
That's if you're allowed inside of a concert venue anytime soon. I don't know. You could train for a while because there's no venues.
right. All right, so the next bit of news: Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler. Looks like it's going to be a UFC
You
257.
looked right at me. You're like,
You sit across me like it's you
So I'm excited for that fight. I think that's
Yeah.
actually maybe the right fight for Michael Chandler. I don't know if it's necessarily a good fight for him.
no. I'm a little nervous
No,
as a
but
fan of Michael Chandler. Yeah, considering the fact that he was knocked out by a featherweight.
Yeah.
It is the fight that he should be getting. Though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like honestly, if you think
It's a good welcome fight.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing: if you are worried about a fight versus Dan Hooker, then you should be worried about a fight about anybody above him.
Gaethje
Yeah.
or whatever it might have been.
Though I feel like Gaethje is a better matchup because Dan
Mhm.
Hooker's takedown defense has to be better than Gaethje's.
Has to be.
Yeah, and like his BJJ is probably better than Gaethje's.
Yeah.
Just based
Again,
on-
has to be.
right. So like, there's routes to victory with Gaethje more obviously than with Hooker, I think.
Right.
But I mean, also like Gaethje could turn your lights out, but Hooker is pretty violent too. Like he almost had Poirier knocked out with the knee.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
I love how it's on the same card as McGregor Poirier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a nice little lightweight.
That was
Thing
the.
Oh
going
my
on.
God, they needed
That was
another
the fight
on that
that
card.
card was missing for sure. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it makes that card really good now.
I
Yeah.
just love that I'm all about the tournaments. Like I just wish the UFC would do like tournaments.
actually tournaments and like announce it as a tournament. and
Yes.
hype it as a tournament because it sort of injects a different flavor
It
to the
does.
promotion.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're kind of doing it anyway, so why not
Yeah.
just call
market it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just set it up that way.
Do you think they're like, we don't need gimmicks? We're not gonna play
Well,
into
they
that.
had, they had a BMF belt, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
you get
true.
surprised we're not
That's a
fucking title
very
shot in
good
a
point.
ladder match.
I think-
or
I
whatever.
CM Punk.
I think that had a lot to do with The Rock saying he wanted to be part of
Yeah.
that because
That's $1 million just because the Rock's there.
Yeah, just because he's in the building.
Yeah.
I feel like with the UFC though, it's about the fact that their stars are bigger, so it's harder to force them into fights the way that Bellator probably can.
Yeah.
They have a little less control over like a McGregor. McGregor's fight needs to be situational.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, "Here's your fight."
It's
Bellator
a
probably,
tournament, buddy. Well,
know.
fuck your tournament.
Yeah.
right? Bellator
Yeah.
probably has. I mean, I don't know. This is me just talking on my ass about the promotions, but it seems like Bellator has a little more control over matching up fights because hey, we have a card and that's it, and we only have this many fighters.
We're gonna go.
Yeah.
under if
UFC
we
can
don't.
just fucking matchmake.
We'll
all
fill it
of
with something
Right.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's probably a hesitancy and like saying, "Hey, this is a tournament," and it's like, "Well, I'm not fighting that against that guy. And that's this date, you know."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I mean Chandler looked good in his last fight against Benson, but Benson is
36.
yeah, so it's really hard to gauge.
Where he's at.
Yeah.
I can see like a step in knee like from Hooker like flatlining him. Like his knees are and like he's short, so like like
Yeah. He's like right there.
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
like it's fucking especially if you're trying to wrestle too. If you're trying to come in for
Yeah.
takedowns
They
and
had
shit.
Chandler doing post-fight analysis the other day, like a couple cards ago or last card, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't remember
Did they?
either. I
I
don't
thought
think
they
I
did.
watched any of the post fights.
I like how,
didn't like him. I didn't think he was very good.
I thought it was Michael. I thought Michael Chiesa was doing one
He
the
did
other
him
week.
before.
Well, actually, you know what I forgot about? That post he made about what his strategy would be against Gaethje.
Terrible.
It was like
what'd he say?
it basically was like, well, you know, obviously Gaethje's really good at punching, so I have to be better at punching
Yes.
and throw more punches.
So he
And it was like, what?
I'm gonna outpunch Gaethje
Yeah.
instead of the obvious. Like I should probably take him down. I mean, like, are you trying to put it out there that you're not gonna take
Regardless,
him
you're
down?
not even saying like, well, I think I would really have a chance at like counter striking him or anything
No.
like that. You're like, well, he's really good at punching, so I have to be
he
better
said,
at punching.
he said that about every fighter in the division.
That's
He's-
literally how he worded it. That's literally how he worded it. Does like I was like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Missing-
you got to throw punches in a fight.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're missing the obvious strategy of like, well, he looked pretty bad on the ground last time. Maybe I should take.
I think
him
that's
there.
before the fight though. I think was that maybe before the fight?
No.
no.
Was it? Okay.
This was like a
Yeah.
week
No,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
it
it
was
wasn't that
pretty
long
recent.
ago. It was the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
But like he said he matched up against everybody well.
Well,
Like, it
besides
was like,
Diego Sanchez
like-
having an OnlyFans.
right.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But anyways, it's like he's like a bad matchup for everybody in the division. He said it was like literally everyone is like, oh, my bad matchup for Connor.
I'm glad
Uh,
you believe that.
Yeah, it's like I guess you have to believe it. You know.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you can't go out there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna never
Yeah, I
make
match
it.
up horribly
I
with
don't know.
this guy.
I don't know
Top
how much.
five.
I don't know how much you want to say it before you have your first fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
That could go horribly wrong for you.
But it seems like his chin's worse than Hooker's. Hooker has a really good chin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He took like how much damage against Poirier and
Poirier,
fucking
yeah.
and Barboza fucked him up too pretty bad, and he still was
Yeah.
You
trying
should
to
just
fight.
be like, I'm here to see if I can fight with the top guys in the world.
Yeah. So let's move on from that. We're going to go to Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz is
pretty much done, I think, for March.
what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, March UFC 259.
It's a good ass fight.
That's a good ass fight. Honestly,
Hard
like
to
I
pick.
said in our message, like I honestly it's hard to pick, but I honestly think I'm going Jan.
I mean, it's a it's definitely like not out of the realm of possibility, and it's what my heart kind of wants to see. But I just cannot stop picturing Izzy like outpointing him. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's why it's such a hard one to pick. But I just feel like Jan is going to be so much stronger than Izzy.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like when you see him in the cage together, you're gonna be like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, Izzy might look pretty jacked though with the extra weight. We haven't seen him like that.
I don't know, like because of his frame.
His
I don't
frame,
know.
yeah.
He's not gonna get any more jacked, he said. He's
Yeah,
just gonna
So
fight
just-
whatever weight he's at.
Yeah.
yeah, because I think if he gets too big, it's actually gonna
It's
take
slowed
away from his
down,
fight.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I feel like I don't think that Coach Behrman, because I've seen interviews with Eugene Behrman, his coach, he wouldn't take the fight unless he saw a hole in which Izzy could exploit.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, so I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, they know what they're doing in terms of like going up.
Yeah,
I
they're the
don't
best. They're the best camp right now.
I don't think he's seen power
Yeah.
like Jan though either. You know,
or just strength. Period. Like
Yeah.
Jan, like Jan, like if he has his hands on you, I don't know. Like I can, for some reason in my head, I can picture him. It's like Zangief versus Dazlim, whatever, in Street Fighter. Like he might just pick him up and bear hug him. Like I feel like he's gonna look that much bigger.
So that's
than
your
him.
prediction, right? Bear hug,
Bear hug.
submission.
Yeah, bear hug
Is he-
submission.
Standing one, right?
Yes,
Just like,
correct.
Oh, his fucking spine snapping.
But you also could see Izzy like backing out and counter striking him the whole time.
I could easily see
The
Izzy.
speed difference though is going to be
Yeah.
Right.
crazy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
It's
could
gonna be
easily
nuts.
see him outpointing or even possibly knocking Jan out with precise punches to the
You're
jaw.
saying knockout, right?
Yeah, I did put a cool face emoji in the chat when I said it, but I also believe that for real.
You think?
so.
You think?
You believe
Izzy
Izzy's
can
gonna
knock
get the
out-
Yeah,
knockout?
I just feel like it's just like the speed and skill differential is going to be too much. Power can extend so far, but like I said, I don't think Izzy hasn't seen power in his strike. He's 100
Right.
kickbox fights. I mean,
Yeah.
like he's one of the top
Yeah.
kickboxers in the world. Paulo Costa, is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Obviously he's
I
less,
don't, but we talked about Paulo Costa and how
Yeah.
he's never really like flatlined anybody. Like he's gotten some TKOs, but he's never really power punched somebody out of the cage.
Yeah.
Well, Jan has, and
Right.
Jan he's just so big.
Yeah, I just feel like though
He's
it's like,
so big.
You've been
He's
watching
very
Izzy
Could be
though
a
for a
probably
while. Like
heavyweight,
you knew
yeah.
about him
Oh,
before
yeah.
he was even coming into
Yeah.
before he was even in the UFC.
Yep.
So
I was excited for him to come. Like I remember him signing and stuff like that. But yeah, I just feel like it's just like skill wise, like who's the best striker that Jan's knocked out? Probably Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
That's probably his best. Or like Luke Rock. Not even Luke Rockhold. He's not a great striker.
Yeah.
So you just think about the level of competition striking wise. If he could force it into the ground, I give him a way different chance. But standing,
yeah.
I just feel like it's just like
The size thing.
Izzy
is
just has
kind
a
of-
way.
yeah.
He just
I mean,
can
it-
always find a way.
Izzy's not small. Like he's a tall, lanky, middleweight or whatever.
Mhm.
But like, I still feel like Jan's just a more massive human being.
Yeah,
But-
he is.
Yeah, he's way bigger, but
Yeah.
I just feel like that could only play out in certain areas of the fight. If he gets
Yeah.
against a cage,
Yeah.
that could be a
Can you
factor.
get him there though?
Against the cage, on the ground, power
Yeah.
punch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's like sort of his avenue to win. It depends on where he takes it because I don't see Izzy even really getting against the cage. I feel like the movement's gonna be too much for Jan to implement
To put in.
grappling.
Mhm.
And like he doesn't have a blast double leg like GSP or whatever, so
Right.
it's not like he's like doing that.
And can Izzy scramble well enough to get away from Jan trying to get his mitts on him?
Do you think he's gonna strike with Izzy, or is he gonna mix it up with grappling too?
I think he'll maybe try to grapple some, but I do think he does a lot of striking. And I think a power punch ends up landing because even like he's a lot faster than Izzy's a lot faster than Robert Whitaker, but Robert Whitaker was putting his hands on him.
But like Gastelum put his hands on Izzy quite a bit.
But
Yeah.
Gaslam's way faster than Jan
But
is.
Gastelum's
He
not
is.
Jan,
But if
not
Jan
as big
land-
as Jan,
But if Jan lands
that
that
friggin'
one fucking
pull.
that Polish power,
Mhm.
I think that's lights out.
it's a great.
But
fight.
but
I feel like his fist might be the same size as Izzy's head.
probably. But depends if he shaves his head or has hair.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That will make a difference.
Cause I remember like it's hard for me to commit to that because it's like I've seen Jan go to split decision with Jacare like last year in a striking
Yeah.
fight, and like that's like it's like that power. If it doesn't land all the time, if you can't make it land all the time against everybody, and Izzy makes his punches land against everybody he's fought. Besides Yo, which is a weird ass fight. It just is.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like if Jan's going to split decision with Jacare, he could have got better, but he's also 37. So there comes a point in time where you start to fall off a cliff a little bit.
Yeah.
Every fight's a little worse than the last one.
The size difference is what makes it more intriguing to me. Because if this fight were at middleweight, if for some reason Jan was small enough to be a middleweight, I probably wouldn't be thinking he would
Right.
beat Izzy.
But
Yeah.
seeing Izzy fight somebody that much bigger
Yeah.
and Jan fighting somebody that much quicker than
Right.
him,
Yeah.
it's a little more.
It's a very
It's
interesting
very
matchup.
interesting, yeah.
It's a great fight though. I feel like I'm kind of sad that Glover
has to happen.
didn't get the title shot,
Same.
but also like I'm like not mad that the fight was made. Pretty
Right,
happy
because
about
it's an exciting fight for
Yeah.
sure.
If Izzy knocks him out, he's the fucking king of the UFC, though, dude.
Dude,
Like,
Yeah.
that John Jones
And
fight's
I
gonna
was
happen.
literally just getting ready to say. Then John
Yeah,
Jones comes
John-
down, and if he beats John Jones, he's just undoubtedly the greatest.
yeah.
Well, if he beats John Jones, he's probably like in the running for like GOAT, honestly.
Yeah.
That-
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
If he beats Jan and then goes and beats Jones,
There's no doubt.
I don't know if it's
He's
even
in
an
it.
argument.
And that's
Yeah.
coming from someone who, like, obviously right now I think Khabib's the greatest. So,
Right.
I mean, if he does that, there's just no.
Well, because obviously at this point, unless Jones gets a loss in between there, I mean, a win against John Jones is the
best
biggest
win
win
ever.
ever.
Right, because there's the debate of is it John Jones or is it Khabib? So
Yeah.
He
if
kind of
he-
slides in there real fast with
Mhm.
the win
Yeah.
like that.
All right, so next after that is they're trying to line up the light heavyweight tournament in Bellator, and when you look at this roster that they have for it, it's
Pretty
actually
stacked.
it's stacked.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, like
You're looking
you line
at
up that many guys from the UFC and be like, all right, fight, and who would win? It's like Bellator's guys would probably come out. on
Well,
top.
They're
and
having
honestly-
the better light heavyweight division right now,
I think they
especially with
might.
Nemkov.
when I look at this, I'm like, is there this many fighters I'm intrigued by in
UFC.
the UFC's
No,
light heavyweight
there's
division?
more.
Yeah, like we have Nemkov, their champion, who just smashed Bader.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
Bader was
looking pretty good for a while.
looking pretty good, and when he was in the UFC, I mean, he was a top 5
Yeah.
to 7 light heavyweight the
Yeah.
whole time. Then Anthony Rumble Johnson,
Who retired of a title shot.
Yeah.
who retired off a title shot and knocks people dead.
Right. Because
Um,
you've even put like Rumble versus like Ozdemir. Like fucking he wipes the floor with Ozdemir.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Like-
Rumble comes back to the UFC, he's in title contention, right?
Yeah. And then Yoel Romero, who we've never seen fight at light heavy, but he's going there, and who knows
Probably better
what
for
that'll
him.
end up looking
Yeah.
like. I think
Yeah.
it probably will be better for him, to be honest. Phil Davis, who again was a
Top
top
UFC
guy
talent.
UFC,
Yeah.
who has the weirdest,
Frame.
biggest shoulders ever.
Yeah.
Leota
football pads.
Machida, former UFC light heavy
He's one
champion.
and done. Fuck him.
Masasi, they're talking about
Oh,
moving up for that,
God,
and
that
you know
worries me.
he's one of the
Makes
best
sense.
fighters,
That they have and,
Oh.
and maybe period. I mean, he's a great fighter, period.
yeah.
That
And
worries
then
me.
Corey Anderson,
yeah.
who was a top 10 UFC
Top 5
guy.
probably.
Yeah.
So he has
Yeah.
wins over Glover and wins over Jan, which is nuts. That fucking that's what I mean. Like even if he got knocked out by Jan, he still 1-on-1 with him. That's
Right.
more commendable than
I mean,
You
think
know.
about UFC's top guys. You got Jan, Glover, Thiago, and
like
Reyes,
Glover already got knocked out by Rumble and lost to
Yeah.
fucking Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
So like it's like I mean,
It's-
how
it's-
good's Glover now that the division's vacant? He's getting a title shot or getting up there for one
Yeah.
just because he left. You know,
Basically, these are all names that pretty much anybody that follows MMA almost at all knows.
right? And like Nemkov's the least.
The least known, and he's the champ.
Right.
Yeah, he's scary.
But fucking you know that Yuri Prialka beat Nemkov in 1.
Really?
Yeah, so he has a win over him. That's pretty
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
That's pretty neat.
But I will tell you this: I will be watching that if they line that up.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the interview I saw with Scott Coker was that it's definitely probably
Gonna happen.
gonna
Definitely,
happen. Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
you already did a featherweight, a lightweight, a heavyweight. Why not do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and with their two
with
biggest
the-
signings being
Yeah.
in that division, I
Right.
mean, it's a
With
huge
the roster
tournament.
you got right now, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
do
I
it.
would definitely put Romero. I think I'd put Romero and Anthony Rumble on opposite sides of the bracket.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they do pickings though. I think they said it. I can't remember how they. I remember watching the
draw from a
selection
hat?
show. No, it was
Yeah,
someone. It was
live
whoever
TV.
won. The first side of the bracket got to pick who they were going to fight. I think.
Doesn't seem fair. but-
That seems like some
I
bullshit.
can't remember exactly how it went, but it
Just
was
'cause you
something
fought
along
first.
those lines of that.
All right, good for you.
yeah.
All right, but I'm actually that's probably the first thing I've really been excited for in Bellator. So
Ever.
yeah, so I can't wait to watch it.
What about
I hope they
Tito?
line it up. What about Tito?
Watch every fight's gonna be boring because the Bellator has never has good fights.
All the decisions.
Seriously, they're all boring. Like it's weird. Even high level fights, I'm like, oh, this is boring. I don't know what's
Yeah.
it boring.
Well, and their production value is really lacking comparatively.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, that's all
Especially when
there's
there's
to it.
no fans in the
It's like, are
building
you even
and shit.
filming this with high def cameras?
And I don't turn on my TV for Bellator. I just watch it on my phone because I don't feel like getting a remote for it. So it's all small screen. Like it's just like the worst version of it. So
You know what's weird? I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but the fact that the cater card is going to be on ABC.
What?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I wanted to have that in the news too. The,
Yeah,
the
what
UFC is going to start being on ABC next year, I believe.
But are they owned by Disney? By
Well, yeah.
ABC
ABC's
is owned by yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's pretty. It's like cool though, because then at least it's on like
you don't
basic
have
cable.
to do it behind the paywall of ESPN Plus.
And again, it helps.
Well,
grow
they're
UFC.
still going to probably put events on ESPN.
Oh
Plus,
yeah,
aren't
but
they?
I'm saying you can do some events on ABC that
Right.
everybody can see.
Right.
It encourages you to go sign up for ESPN.
I can't wait to
Plus.
see Cater's nose shatter on ABC.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Kind of.
New England Cartel, baby.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll
I
see.
hate all of you.
New England Cartel, maybe.
And actually, here's the fight card for that. You got Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, Brian Kelleher versus Ricky Simone, or
Nope.
is it Simon?
Pena versus McMahon was pushed back to UFC 257.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Grundy versus Nicolettes. Yeah. All right.
Akhmedov versus Tom Breeze.
Who is Tom Breeze?
Drew, that's Drew's brother.
His little brother. It's
Drew Brees.
Drew
buddy.
Breeze.
yeah.
Oh, and Christina Aguilera's on that card.
Fighting the guy who choked out Colby Covington. Well, Worley Alves submitted Colby Covington in the UFC.
Honestly, I like the Brian Kelleher fight and the Max Holloway.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
I love that Max Holloway Calvin Kattar
Dude.
fight.
Yeah, that's
Ponzinibbia
really
returns
I know.
versus Muslim Salikov.
Yeah. So, all right. The next thing I had on the news was actually Chiesa versus Magny for January 20th. I'm actually
a great
surprised
fight.
Chiesa took that fight, but I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
I really want to see that fight.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Wait, I forgot to mention something earlier about Chandler. Chandler was saying, because RDA called him out after RDA beat
Right.
Felder, and he's like, "No, I have bigger plans." And it's like, you fight somebody one rank above
Yeah.
RDA. RDA is like ranked like
How much-
7. And
How
then,
much
RDA
bigger was it?
Yeah, RDA is arguably the more known guy.
Yeah. If you beat,
I think with him saying that, we all assumed he was going to end up fighting
Gaethje.
Gaethje.
yeah, and then like, but to say it like that, then fight a guy one rank above RDA is just like, what? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
like, okay.
Yeah,
Glad you had those big, massive plans.
it sounds like the Gaethje fight fell through. Maybe Gaethje doesn't want to fight next month. Maybe he's just like, I need more time off. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I need to get my psyche right.
Yeah.
Need to
Oh.
become a white belt in BJJ.
Man, that fight card is actually pretty good.
This is.
You got
You
you
got
got Leon Edwards versus Chimaev. You got
Condit versus Matt Brown.
Yeah.
I want to see Condit versus Mike Jackson. I want to see
Chiesa,
that fight.
Chiesa Magny,
Matt Brown versus Mike Jackson. Make that fight.
Pedro
Switch 'em
Munoz
around.
versus Jimmy Rivera's on that card.
That's actually a really good fight night card.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
excellent.
I like it.
Why is it so far down, dude?
Well, I'm sure this can't be the list is the way that
The
list
way
is
Dude,
going
it
to be
goes.
set
let
up.
me be mad about this.
Okay,
It's so
sorry.
far down. On this website, it's so far down, so I'm mad.
So I'm mad.
Because it's like Roxanne Modafferi versus Araujo. Or is that her?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way
So-
that fight's going to be above Neil Magny,
Magny
and
and
Chiesa.
Chiesa the co-main, or is Munoz Rivera the co-main?
That's tough to say.
Dude, Jimmy Rivera's brother Jerome Rivera is fighting Francisco Figueiredo,
I think
who is fucking.
Is that Fig's brother?
I don't know. I'm making that up as well too.
It
And I'm happy
had,
about
there's
Yeah.
no, there's,
But what if it's actually just Fig?
Yeah.
It's just him under a different name.
He has a mustache, though. Real thick one. It's
maybe
fake.
he wasn't released off suspension fast enough and wanted to fight.
Gets
Oh
knocked
my
out by
God.
Jerome Rivera.
Like, oh damn it!
Yeah.
Good thing that wasn't me.
Yeah. Francisco Figueiredo.
He's got like a curly mustache.
He has a wig on.
Yeah. Oh my god! All right. After that, this one, I hope this comes to fruition.
Please, no more COVID cancellations.
Yeah, I hope this comes to fruition because it's Stipe versus Francis. They're hoping to have in March, and then Jones fights the winner of that. And
Dude.
I hope that all plays out semi quickly.
I'm rooting for fucking Francis just because I want to see somebody fight more often, dude. I like Stipe,
Yeah.
but like I can't care about you as a champion or you winning or losing if you
but
fight
if
one
he
time
fights, if he fights Ngannou and then fites Jones in the same year, you won't be satisfied with that.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
a year. Saying it. It's illogical. I don't care. I'm not happy
Well,
with that.
and honestly, I'm rooting for Francis too, just because I think Francis is probably the future of the heavyweight division, and I think he's probably the most exciting fighter in the heavyweight
I'm
division.
rooting for Stipe because fucking Cleveland Cartel, baby.
Cleveland Cartel, baby.
Dude, Cameroon Cartel though with Francis. Cameroon Cartel,
Yeah.
baby.
Sand mines.
Yeah.
The Sand Mine Cartel.
Oh my god.
All my favorite fighters are sand miners from Cameroon. That's it. the only people you like in the UFC. It's like dirt poor
Yeah.
childhood.
But
I'll
just
root for
massive
Stipe.
people.
I'll root for Stipe till he's gone.
I love Stipe. I want to see the era of Francis Ngannou begin.
I feel like if he
I'd
beats
like to, but Stipe.
if he beats Jones after beating Francis, he retires for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way he's
Yeah,
gonna
I
fight
would,
after that.
Yeah, I know.
You don't think Francis fights after
No,
that?
no.
No.
If
Oh,
Stipe beats
Stipe.
Francis
Yeah.
then Jones,
Yeah.
he's retiring.
Yeah, you got. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't
for
you?
sure.
Yeah.
There's no like who gonna fight fucking Derek Lewis? Like, you know,
Right.
you can't go backwards now after that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
walk
after
out
those
on
two.
top and it's over. Dude.
Yeah. And then after that, we did get the Nunez versus Anderson match rebooked for March 16th. So that might be on the same card if they do get that
That would
Stipe
be
Francis
sweet.
card going.
I just don't want to. I don't want to see that as a main event. So I
No,
wish that'd
please
be-
don't do
Yeah,
that.
I'd rather that be the co-main event. Yeah.
I mean, nothing against it, but just
Nothing against Nunez. Like
But the
typically,
B side to that is not good. you know?
right? Like Megan Anderson, she's really getting that fight just because
She's it.
she's the only person there. So I'd rather that be the co-main event than the main event.
Yep.
Could even be the third fight.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
it could be
Yeah.
the fucking Rivera versus Figueiredo above it. I don't give a fuck. The prelim headliner
Watch while Megan Anderson will shock the world and we'll all be eating our words.
submits her on the ground, takes her down, and
Somebody loses $10 million. That night.
to make $4.
Right, to
The
make
odds are so
$4.
bad. The odds are so terrible.
Oh my God! And then also Barcelos versus Asuncao has been booked. I'm excited to see Barcelos fight again. I do think he probably handles Asuncao fairly easily.
I feel like a Sunshot should take a different fight. I feel like this is a fucking. He's old now. He's like 38 and like
And he's fighting, and
he's a killer.
And Barcelos, yeah, he's a killer who's not. I don't even think in the top 10. So
No,
it's really a tough fight for Asuncao to take. I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting the step up though, but it just seems like. I mean,
Yeah.
props though to Rafael for taking the fight, honestly,
Yeah.
because like I like when people just like, it's like when Glover was fighting people like coming up when he's fighting the light heavyweight division, he was fighting all these young dudes.
Yeah,
I like
Had
that.
to make his comeback.
Yeah, like I like that kind of shit. But
Yeah. And then Holloway versus, as we briefly talked about, Holloway versus Cater on January 16th. I mean, I just see a pure, beautiful boxing match.
right,
I'm excited for that one.
Same.
are you nervous for the fight, Nicolette?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've only get nervous for a few fighters, and this is definitely one of them. Just because I think this is a very big step up for Calvin
Yeah,
in terms of like fighting somebody
Technical
who is
boxing.
so
Yeah.
technical and so experienced. And like I said, the nose, it really does bother me.
and I feel like him losing the few fights he did lose in the UFC is like troubling. Hopefully, he got better since then because he lost to
Moicano.
Moicano in it was a striking battle, and he really didn't
Shoot
get
his leg up.
It
Yeah.
seems like he should have the power though to like overwhelm him almost.
Well,
And then he lost to Zabit.
Yeah.
And Holloway's wins, Holloway's losses after making his rise to the title, none of them are really. It's like,
that bad.
yeah, you're not
Right.
like, oh man, Holloway, he's done. Like,
Right.
it's not. You can't really say
The
that.
Peoria thing almost doesn't count. Like it was he moved up to lightweight and
Yeah.
he was just outpowered by.
And then Volkanovski just seemed like, I don't know, a bad matchup. He just couldn't seem to just get over the hump.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And arguably, some people think he won those fights.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully they make that Ortega.
They did make it.
Did they? Is
It's-
that
I'm
official?
pretty sure it's either done or it's like
For
Yeah,
Is that March?
I remember reading
I
about
think
it.
so. Yeah, a few steps away from.
Good for Ortega though, because it was like
I think
almost
he's gonna
looked
be the
bad for him, and then he
You
came
think
back a new man. You know,
A new man. His performance was incredible. It really
Yeah,
was.
I think he's gonna
His
be champ.
striking just took. That's
I
the
hope he
biggest
is
striking
too.
difference I've ever seen from one fight to another.
yeah.
I think the other biggest difference in striking is when Dillashaw became like a
Yeah,
fucking world class
the-
striker against Brow.
Brow,
Yeah.
I know.
It's like
Out of nowhere.
Everybody thought Henan Barrow was unbeatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like he just fucking comes in like, oh, he's a high level striker now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega targeted for February per Dana White,
That's
and
actually
that
pretty
was via BT
recent.
Sport.
I hope Ortega
Yeah.
does take that belt.
I do
It's
too.
more
He's,
exciting.
yeah,
I'm
I
ready
think
for-
he's gonna be
I'm ready for
champion.
Volkanovski. Only because I like the camp. I like city kickboxing. And
I
he
feel
trains
like
with
it's because you guys are the same height.
I feel like if Brian,
them. and Brian's too handsome to root
It's too
for.
handsome.
he is a good-looking guy.
Yeah, it's
he is very
maddening.
good-looking.
you can't have it all. You can't be a world
We only
champion and
hate
be like a
Luke
look.
Rockhold for
and be
looking-
pretty.
Yeah.
We
If
only
he-
hate Luke Rockhold for being pretty.
Yeah.
If
I read a story about somebody doing coke with Luke Rockhold in a bathroom somewhere at some club. Well, that's pretty funny.
I
Probably
heard,
knocked out from
I
the
heard he's
impact of the
very
clothesline.
awkward around women too.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of videos of him just being like really weird around girls.
Yeah,
It's like I know somebody that is like convinced he's just gay.
Yeah.
It seems like there's one of those guys who like he works against himself and how attractive he is.
Just be silent. brother.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
sit there.
Yeah.
Sit there and be mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like if Brian becomes champion, he's just a bad matchup for everybody in that division because now his boxing has become almost
Pretty
getting
good.
to be on par with world class.
Just his striking in general, just kicks and
And
everything.
his jiu-jitsu is just you can't
Top of the
compete with
line.
I mean,
Brian
I'd like
on the
to
ground.
see him fight Holloway again, redeem himself there. You know.
Yeah. So then we also have Drew Dober versus Islam Makhachev. Excited to see Drew Dober fight. I hope he knocks Islam out. Just because I see a lot of potential in Drew Dober. He's fun to watch fight.
Do you like
Yeah.
Islam because you like Khabib or no?
I mean, not really on that kind of like.
I don't know how deep the
Just 'cause
Khabib
you're
thing
his
was.
buddy.
No, I just really like Khabib, just him in general. It's not like honestly the only real camp that I really like follow in that way is Caters and
New
Foll.
England Cartel, baby.
I fucking hate you.
It's just funny. She always says baby afterwards.
Like, do you like anyone else in the camp or just them two?
Well,
I mean,
that's
there's
it.
really
Yeah, like,
there's just some
Curious now. Like,
there's just some amateurs that are there, and then like there is one kid that's a pro. I'm not sure exactly like what promotion he fights for, but I mean like
just Cater and Font just boxing each other. Fucking that's it. Just boxing rounds over and over.
their manager though is like pretty cool. He seems like a really really nice guy.
What's his name?
Tyson Chartier.
No, I don't know.
Chardonnay.
But yeah, I like City Kickboxing.
That's a really good camp too. Eugene Behrman is
A great coach.
yeah.
And even like if all the fighters aren't like even Cara France, like he's
Mhm.
not the best, but like the training. It's like when you take talent, it's like not everybody's gonna be champion just because you're a great coach,
Right.
But it's enough.
It's about what you do with the
Did you-
ones
did
that
you guys-
can't be champion.
Do you guys see what's the kid's name that his leg was hurt and he came back and submitted
Chase Hooper.
Chase Hooper? He like kind of called out Rogan and DC like you
Yeah.
guys were being a little brutal like.
I mean,
And
kind
I
of.
think he was right. Like
Yeah,
they were kind of
Joe-
writing him off, and it's like, dude, he won the fight.
Yeah,
Like,
Joe Rogan. I mean, I just remember that was one thing that I had like
Shouldn't he be
brought
in the
up.
UFC? Like, dude, he's fighting right now.
Yeah,
Like,
like
he won
Yeah, and he has a win. And like he has wins.
other wins. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
I
mean,
mean, he's a kid,
Yeah, and he's only 21.
a
years
literal
old,
fucking like kid.
Yeah.
and I just feel like it's unnecessarily. And like he wasn't getting fucked up that bad.
Yeah.
Like-
No, and it's okay
and
to
he's-
think those things, but to say it on live broadcast
And
where a
he's-
bunch of people like are obviously
It makes your
listening to you.
promotion look worse.
He's like humble in himself and realizes his own faults. And he's like, and he still was like,
I like
bro,
him.
you guys are being a little brutal. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
him to say that, I think, I mean, there's some merit to it. Whereas other fighters who just whine about being critiqued.
I actually like him though.
The
He's like
comment-
a good kid.
Yeah.
Their
Smart.
commentary has been
Not
Off.
great.
it's
Yeah.
just been off ever since.
Rogan got that 100 million, dude.
Yeah.
It's
It was
money.
definitely the
Just watch his clips.
Khabib McGregor
Just watching
fight.
fights.
That fight was really biased, but I feel like DC and Rogan are starting to dip into their own personal feelings when it comes to things, and either like
Not being
over-
objective. Yeah.
overhyping certain things and also downplaying things of the opponent that they're trying to overhype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they like to dip in their own personal bias,
I
and
think
like
Cruz does that a lot
Dude,
too.
he
though.
does. And as much as I don't like when it comes to grappling, Michael Bisping has no idea what he is
Like
talking
Cruz
about.
is like McGregor's trying to wear out
Is-
Khabib by laying on his back and getting punched.
Yeah.
Tom's
Great
like,
plan.
no, I think he's just punching him in the face.
No, he's
Yeah.
getting his ass kicked.
And like I feel like whenever a fight goes on longer than it should, like a late stoppage, and Cruz is watching, he gets sour about the fact that his fight was stopped early. Like he gets so mad. And he mentions it a little bit, and it's like yeah,
Back
like
with my fight.
yeah, like it's
oh
just like
my gosh.
it's like dude, we know that you're sour about that. It's just
Yeah,
like, it should not
we
be part
get
of the broadcast.
Yeah. You know who doesn't get enough credit, I feel like, though, is I love John Anik.
Yeah.
He's really good.
He is very
He
good
is
at
He's like the
pulling-
cornerstone of the broadcast.
I actually didn't
He's
like
good
him
at
at first,
pulling
but I really
everything
like
back
him now.
to track when they start getting off on their tangents. Because then when they start going and they get going, it's like you guys are talking about something
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with fighting. Like,
I'll always
I'm
miss
gonna mute it.
Goldberg a little bit just because I like the classic UFC in my mind, but he's much better than Goldberg.
Nostalgia
Yeah.
glasses.
I feel like
Nostalgia
Goldberg
glasses.
Goldberg fit more into a time when the UFC wasn't.
Primitive. It was like more primitive,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Less sporty.
Yeah, and like
more.
I don't want to say like
meathead.
It doesn't seem like he has a lot of knowledge in the sport. So
He
You're
probably,
right.
how do
He's
you
the
watch
hype
so
man.
much fucking UFC though?
and not pick it up.
Yeah, like-
You're
Like,
there,
right.
cage side every.
That's why I
fucking-
like John Alex so much because he's learned a lot. He's
Yeah.
really started to like hone his craft, and I just feel like he just doesn't get enough credit as being
Yeah.
like you said He's like the cornerstone
Yeah.
of the whole broadcast.
He's probably the best. Him and Felder. I like Felder a lot too.
yeah,
actually.
same.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like both of them are like the best, just in general the best. And like I think Rogan's sort of riding on the fact that he's Joe Rogan. He's been around forever, but his work has gotten worse.
Yeah, he's definitely not as good, but I still really enjoy when him and DC are on the same one because they
Yeah.
fanboy out. They do, and I know
Yeah.
that's kind of what you're alluding to,
No,
and
no,
having a problem with. But it's so much fun, like especially when you see the clips of their reactions when something crazy happens.
Well, what the
And you know what? It's also it's probably a little weird for them now being so far apart.
the specific thing I was talking about was the kid's name again?
Chase Hooper.
Hooper was saying how DC and Rogan were being a little brutal on him.
It was accurate.
I didn't think I didn't think
just-
so. I thought that like
There's no way you watch that fight and then watch
think-
the very next
No,
male
I mean,
fight
even-
on the card and be like, well, yeah, he's in the same category as those guys.
like he's obviously not the best striker, but Rogan was like acting like he doesn't even belong in the UFC, and I mean he won the fight. Like,
Yeah.
We said, but
2-1 in the UFC.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we said ourselves that they should probably do some kind of like some sort of thing where they let him go fight somewhere else and then
Yeah.
eventually come back to UFC. We said it ourselves, so we're sitting there saying that he was out of line, but then we said the exact same
But
thing on the podcast.
We're not on TV though.
Yeah.
Hyping
Yeah.
the fight.
I just feel like him saying it just on the broadcast, just like I don't like.
Because like there's a certain way to put ever or not disrespect somebody
Yeah.
on the broadcast. You know what I mean?
But he also talked very highly of him at the same time. It's not like he just said the kid has no potential.
And well, he also said he was way overselling how bad his leg was. He was like, it wasn't as bad as he acted like. The leg was totally shot.
I feel like it took more positive away from that fight. His striking's bad, but you can learn to be a great striker. I mean,
Right.
like you just think about he's determined to be a fighter, and
Yeah.
he's great on the ground.
But my thing is just he fanboyed out when he did the Inamari role. He talked about the
Yeah.
heart of Chase Hooper. I
Yeah.
mean, he said good things about him as well.
Yeah.
We're just focusing on the negative thing he said that we
Yeah,
also
Well,
said.
specifically because Hooper brought it up is why.
Hooper. Someone
Well, I'm
asked-
sure he didn't like it, but when you watch when you watch that first early prelim fight, and then you see the very I said it in the group message we have, the
Right.
very next male fight, which those guys aren't top 10 or anything. It was like, man, the difference in
Yes.
skill level between these two fights is crazy.
I mean, but then
That's why you don't match up Hooper against guys like that.
right. But that's the same thing to be said about if you watch I don't know, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, then you watch a Ben Askren fight.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the same thing, but
Yeah.
But I also always said that Ben Askren didn't belong in the
belong,
UFC.
but I feel like Ben Askren could get wins in the UFC. He's just
Yeah.
not where he thought he was.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I
like
think Dana wanted to sabotage him too.
Right.
Threw him to the wolves a little bit there.
I mean, like I said, it's like it depends on what XPs you're talking about. Like Ben Askren never is going to be a great striker. He's always going to be below him. But if he gets to the ground, he's a great wrestler. He's decent at BJJ or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Same with Chase Hooper. He's not a great striker either. But like you wouldn't look at Ben Askren striking with Damian Maia and being like, he shouldn't be in the UFC. No one said that about his striking.
Yeah.
His striking was probably more putrid than fucking Chase Hooper's ever. Chase Hooper's probably a better striker than Ben Askren, and it was never said about him.
Yeah.
Just because like the stature of Ben Askren is so highly esteemed in comparison to him.
But
Yeah.
you also only had 2 fights late in Ben Askren's career in the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a different thing because you're also talking about a guy who was a dominant champion, unbeaten everywhere else he was. So I think it's a much different comparison.
Yeah, but I feel like Chase Hooper's ground game is legitimate
Very
enough
legit.
Yeah.
to give him some leeway in terms of his striking, just
Yeah.
because it's like, well, some people aren't great strikers. Damian Maia, I'm not comparing their ground game, but if you're winning by the ground and that's your bread and butter,
Right.
You know.
But Joe Rogan also said, he said, go fight someone else, then come back to UFC. He didn't say, like, you're never going to be in the UFC. He never said that.
I agree. But
Yeah.
like on the same token, like you're paying Greg Hardy $110,000 per fight to gas out and give up on the ground. Like
Yeah.
really, that
Yeah.
that's a lot more money than Chase
Yeah.
Hooper's getting paid. So why not send Greg Hardy somewhere else to work on his ground game?
Right.
Right.
You know, it's like you got to be sort of
Yeah.
fair. You know, in
Yeah.
terms
Yeah,
of
no,
something
why
like that.
not be like
Greg
Greg Hardy
Hardy
doesn't really belong here? Like,
Yeah.
And like he's getting paid fucking way more than most heavyweights
Yeah.
for his fights.
And
Just
definitely more than Chase Hooper.
right. And Chase Hooper is probably on a $20,000 to show, $20,000
Yeah.
to win. that's worth keeping him around. He's not that much money.
Yeah.
He gives great different fights. Like Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall isn't a classically like impressive fighter, but if you like the ground game, you like seeing stuff like that. That's a niche market. You know, that you can have.
So we're going to move on to something we've never done before. Nicolette on her Instagram asked for basically the viewers to. I have it listed as fan questions. I don't know if we necessarily have fans, but the people who have watched this once or twice. And we actually did get some questions that I thought maybe were worth talking about. So we're gonna jump into them. And actually, I think it'd be cool if we did this for most episodes.
If we have them,
So just if we have them, then we'll do it. If not, I'll make some up.
Well, pretend
make
to
up
have
accounts.
fans.
Why is Brandon so handsome on the podcast? I don't know why.
Can you answer that?
The first one was actually by Jacob Decker, and he said, "I would really like to see the UFC Dana White fix the UFC's fucking website." Yeah, it was him.
No.
And yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
We agree.
Unanimous.
As we have discussed.
Have we discussed? When we've tried tweeting at you, Dana. So would you please get it together, or hire one of us to do it?
We need to send
Anybody here could do a better job.
We need to tell Diego Sanchez that his OnlyFans to fix the UFC website. Somehow figure it out.
So then we had one from Joey_Blick. It said thoughts on introducing live in-play scoring to MMA and how we can push for that.
Like the stats just.
Mike. In-play scoring.
Like
I almost
per round?
think. I think the judges. I think he wants to know what the judges are scoring it as it goes.
Yeah,
but
that'd be great.
I actually don't know if I like that.
The only thing against it that I would think of is the fact that somebody could rest on their laurels in the third round if they're winning the first two rounds. It creates a little more.
I don't think the fighters should be able to see it.
Yeah, I think he just means like the fans,
but
people
how
watching.
would that be separated from?
Well, because they're not watching the TV.
It's their coaches. You know,
they'd have to make sure it's not on like the jumbotron or anything.
Yeah,
Because how
just
many times do they look to see how
broadcast.
much time? Yeah,
But
it'd have to be like that little counter they have for when you get nut shotted or something.
I don't know if I like it because it's usually only 3 rounds, and then you're like, as soon as the fight's over, you're like, well, we know who won.
I think
it does
there's
like zero question about those coin flip rounds because you already know.
And
like, oh my God, this could go either way. How's it gonna go?
Maybe some of the suspense there.
Yeah.
But the judges also go against. Like they still.
But we'd
decide.
already know though.
But I'd be
it's
pissed.
The judges.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he wanted like the strike, like because I would love to see like in the corner this many strikes landed like a lot at all time. I know they show it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'd like to at least between every round be updated on what the.
I
Strikes
wouldn't mind
landed.
that. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But actually knowing the judges' scores, I
Yeah.
think takes away some of the.
And I'd be pissed. Like, if I saw a second round that somebody scored for whoever and they lost the round
Like,
and it was a
what?
bad decision, I'd be like, what the
Mad
fuck?
the
And I'd
rest
be
of the
mad.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather just see stats that I can decide who I think's winning based on the
On
stats
those
of
stats.
the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he was talking about even just having if he's talking about maybe just having like a random third party doing it, not the actual judges, they actually did that for a little while with who's Joe Rogan's crazy friend, 10th Planet New Jiu-Jitsu.
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo
yeah.
used to do that. And I don't think it took off. Otherwise, they'd probably keep doing it. And could also be because he's crazy. But
Yeah.
Yeah, the Earth is flat.
yeah. But I don't know if it's something I actually would want to push for, and I don't know how we even would.
I'm all for seeing more stats that I get to see for sure.
I'm all about seeing the stats. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good with seeing that.
Yeah.
I think seeing the actual judges' scores takes away from some of the.
Yeah, I don't.
Excitement.
You're probably
Yeah.
right. Because like Brandon said, if somebody scored it wrong in the second round, now you're pissed for the third round. Like, oh.
Well, I mean, let's be real though. We're pissed afterwards.
Yeah.
like. So
but it's better to be
take
pissed
away from
afterwards.
the enjoyment of the fight.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
And then like sometimes at the end of a fight, like you're excited to hear the decision because you're like, that was a crazy fucking fight. Who won? Like you'd already know.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd already know. Like, oh well, obviously so and so won the fight. I just saw the judges' cards. I already know. I don't even care about this announcement. Can we move on to the next fight?
And the UFC doesn't want you turning the channel.
Yeah. So. I'm trying to. So, what else you guys want to talk about till he gets back? I don't want to go to the next fan question without him. Actually, I'll just read it. So, this one comes from Samuel J _444, and is Nick Diaz coming back? Are we going to? And that's the first part. The second part is, are we going to see a trilogy of Nate and Connor?
I fucking hope so.
So, start with, is Nick Diaz coming back? I don't know. I think it's a big question mark, to be honest.
I think it's a question mark for everybody.
It's always up in the air with him. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like
because
how
they've
much
been training a lot and posting a lot of content.
Yeah.
So the
Is
first
Diaz coming back?
This is 2-part, and the first one is Nick Diaz coming back, and I think that's a big question mark. Not because I see them. They can post all the training videos and stuff they want, but how much money does Nick Diaz want to come back, and is the UFC
that's true.
willing to pay him that after he's been out for so long and wasn't very impressive in his last few fights?
Well, but then you asked, is the Conor trilogy with Nate gonna happen?
That's the
always on the
second
table.
part, but
That's
let's
always on the
attack
table.
this
Yeah,
one
okay.
question at a time.
I think Nate will eventually come back. I think that
You mean Nick?
I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's
It's the
why
same
I was
story.
trying to.
It's the same story.
Yeah.
It's the same story now because it's like they become parallel together.
Yeah,
in
but I
terms
could
of their
see
careers.
Nate coming back, whereas
Before
Nick, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nick was rumored to be coming back and training for a fight with manager. His manager said that. I think.
Yeah.
It's
Never
happened
seemed
like
to materialize.
Well, and it's happened probably 2 or 3 times in the past couple of years. Like, oh, Nick's coming back now. Oh, Nick's coming back now. And my question, I think the big question is I think he might want too much money because of his name. Like, he is a star, but he hasn't been a relevant fighter in I don't know how long.
I also
10
think
years
his
on this.
window's up. I just don't.
He's like
see-
38 now. Yeah.
I don't see him coming back and having a meaningful fight, really.
Yeah, and I think his brother has bigger star power now than he
Yeah,
does.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I think
everyone
so,
knows
too.
who Nate Diaz is.
But I feel like I'm so annoyed by them because I hate. Nate is more guilty of this because Nick is kind of quiet, but Nate always is like tweeting about people, and it's like the idea that they fight anybody anywhere is just not true.
Yeah,
Like
not
they just don't like
Yeah.
they barely fight, you know,
Yeah.
anybody. So it's like I don't like the sort of notoriety they have in terms of like where they stand in MMA because they're not really relevant in any division. They're not top 10 in any division in my mind, and they probably you know, like if I saw Jeff Neal versus Nate Diaz, could I think Jeff Neal would beat him? Probably. And Jeff Neal's who he is in the division, just based on his activity. You can't be out fight once every 2 years and be relevant
and expect to beat top level competition.
Yeah, who fight a few times a year, and people who like Wonder Boy versus Nate would be a fucking not competitive in my mind.
Yeah.
As for the Conor trilogy.
Yeah, so the second part of the question is, are we going to see a trilogy of Nate and Conor? And I also think that is a question mark because I truthfully think in order for them to make that fight again,
a lot of things have to happen.
One of two
Conor
things
has
has
to
to happen.
lose.
Conor has to lose some of his star power because Nate has lost a little bit of his star power.
Together
and his loss, he lost to Masvidal pretty he got beat pretty damn bad.
Yeah.
And so I think the intrigue and the money that was there initially for that trilogy fight might not be there as much now.
I could see it not happening ever, just because like a lot of things have to line up. The egos have to line up. You know,
Fucking Mercury has to be in retrograde and Saturn has to be visible.
right?
Would I like to see it eventually? It might be something that they do, like, okay, this is both of our last fights, and we're gonna finish out this trilogy or something like that.
Maybe way down
I
the
want
road.
to see it
Yeah.
bad because I feel like
I wouldn't count
Nate
on it.
won the second fight, but
I wouldn't count on it happening any time in the next year.
If
or
both
two.
are if both are still active in MMA, that fight's always gonna be on the table. They can make it. Conor loses 2 in a row. They can make it. No matter where they're at in their careers, that fight can be sold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Conor loses 2 in a row, or Nate comes back and wins 2 in a row, something,
Right.
either one of those things,
It
then
happens at
it's
Bellator in 7 years.
Yeah. They've definitely signed worse fights.
Yeah.
Nate knocks out Conor. One punches Conor's shin so degraded from cocaine. He's been partying too much.
His cartilage in his nose is gone. Dude.
oh Jesus.
So the next one we have is Ulysses _ Astrocat. Should fighters get paid for winning or just showing? I'm gonna let somebody else start this off.
I think they
Depends
should get.
on the number. What are you gonna get to show? I mean, I think they should get paid both.
They
I
have
mean, you
to
should
get
get
paid
paid
regardless.
Like,
Like-
if you win, you obviously should get paid too. But both people gotta
You
paid
gotta
to
eat,
show.
man.
Well, they do get paid to show. He's saying instead of that, should they just get paid more money off the start?
show,
I think is
yeah.
what he's saying.
I feel like they should give out more performance bonuses and give them more of a flat rate because I feel like with the judging in MMA,
It's so
it's
shitty.
so wonky with certain decisions that there's a lot of money you lose just by
a shit decision.
Yeah, and like the notion that you should not let it go to the judges is kind of bullshit because it's like the high level MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's hard to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying should they not get paid more for when they just get a flat
They just
rate?
get a better flat rate. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, first of all, with
they
what
should
you
get paid
said,
for sure.
it is bullshit. I don't think Dana White says that because he thinks everybody should be finishing fights. Like everybody should be able to finish a fight. I think he says it because he knows the judges are terrible.
Right, but that shouldn't. In that case, if someone gets a bad decision, would Dana White give them their win money? Like because he said on record, like after fights, that was the worst decision I've ever seen.
Yeah, if you believe
I feel like
that-
he has done stuff like that.
I don't know.
though.
I can't prove if he has or not.
I think he
Yeah.
has on
You know,
occasion, but sometimes I
But
think
not
he's
always.
not, and it's like you probably should though if you believe that the guy got robbed.
Yeah.
Because it's not the fighter's fault. They
Yeah.
don't
Right.
pick the commissions. They don't have anything to do with that.
But
But there's some of these judges that as soon as you hear their name,
Like,
you're like,
fuck.
oh, fucking Jesus.
But
Yeah.
I do think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like win purses are so ingrained in combat sports in general. I believe they happen
Yeah.
in boxing as well.
I don't think they do. I think they get a flat rate if you like. Conor got paid like 100 million flat.
Right. I know that for those specific
Yeah.
circumstances, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I do think that actually does happen in boxing. I think once you reach like the Floyd Mayweather, plus Floyd Mayweather is also fighting under his own promotion,
Yeah.
so he's
It's
going to get
different.
his fucking flat rate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I think once you reach that level, it's different because it's like, well, if you want me to fight somebody, I make $200 million a fight.
And
That's
there-
what I do.
There
Yeah.
probably is the belief that the win money encourages them to perform better and win.
Yeah.
But I mean, is there any merit to that? I don't know. You know, I mean,
I don't
everybody
think
wants
so.
to win the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's like, meh.
Yeah.
Junior Dos Santos.
But I'm sure that,
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
that belief is held. You know, I mean, widely by the promoters that like if they're encouraged, you know, I mean, they'll fight better if
Yeah.
I give them more money.
Well,
so
I think
getting rid of it would be hard.
I do think some fighters honestly would just be like, sweet, just a paycheck. I honestly think Junior Dos
Junior
Santos,
Dos-
as much as that's a joke, I think that might be accurate.
Yeah.
I
But
think he'd be like, all right, I'm just making more money. Let's
Yeah.
just go in there, get
I-
knocked out real
Right.
quick, and get the fuck out of here.
I just think that like but also because of that win money too, the fighters are more safe though. And the flip side of it too, that if Aldo can lock up a triangle for the third round and just ride it out because he's getting the win money.
Right.
So like it plays both ways, I think
Yeah.
too, because like why take chances? You can be boring and safe and get your win.
Yeah.
If you don't care,
30,000 on the line.
yeah, like
Right.
if you're getting an extra $100,000 or whatever it's going to be for your win bonus,
Yeah.
that's a lot of fucking money just by going out there and going out on your shield. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it could work in its favor, but it could, it's
But
hard
you
to
also
quantify that.
but you also then have a chance of also getting performance of the night.
Yeah.
So that's
I-
even more money in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and like I feel like too, it's like winning though. In general, like you're gonna get a bigger contract the more you win. So like,
Correct.
it's gonna wash out sometime,
Yeah.
and I think it's more fair to the fighters to give them that sort of security net. And like, say you have a Marlon Vera, he was hoping to win the Aldo fight. I don't know his finances. I'm just using him as an example. Hoping to win this Aldo fight. I don't know how much he gets paid. Maybe $75K to show, $75K to win.
Yeah.
Fucking Christmas time rolls around, he's half losing $75K. That's a big chunk of your
Yeah.
income for the year.
Yeah.
And like, just the fight happened how it happened. So
Yeah.
it's like, should he be punished to that extent of losing $75K? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Maybe he can go got $100K flat, win or lose, and
Yeah.
split the difference or whatever. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's hard to say. I guess there's a reason why they do it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
and
Don't
it's-
mess with it. It ain't broken though.
Yeah, it's a little.
Is it broken though? Like,
Right. We
Yeah.
don't know because that's it. That's all we've
Yeah.
known as a pay scale.
yeah.
But, I just talking about the pay scale real quick too. Like people say, like, oh, we think the fighters should make more, but honestly, if you look at boxing, the top tier of boxing make a lot of money.
But underneath,
And
does
underneath
not.
is less money than the underneath guys in MMA.
Right, and I've seen people like Brock Weaver, who is a low-level UFC fighter. He's fought a handful of times in UFC, won some, lost some, and he started a GoFundMe to have his camp. He had
Yeah.
no money for his camp,
Yeah.
and shit like that. It's like, okay, do I feel like Brock Weaver is ever going to become champion? Definitely not.
Yeah.
But does he have a place in UFC? Maybe, maybe not. But also, should any UFC fighter be struggling to have a fight camp to fight for the UFC fight.
But you also
Well, especially
have
with how big the roster is right now. I mean, when we look at those fucking rankings, and there's a 50 in each fucking weight class.
You
Like,
also
Yeah,
have
and then
to,
you have to
like-
consider people that aren't even ranked because of whatever reason.
You have
Yeah.
to
Right.
adjust your lifestyle, though. You know, what I mean, if you're only making a certain amount of money fighting, like
right.
you
Right.
can't have the giant house in California and shit. You know, what
I
mean?
don't know. It's expensive. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know.
I mean,
what
he
the
knows
fuck it
what
means.
he's doing, but
Right.
like,
Yeah.
But should like UFC fighters have other jobs? Does that look good for the UFC as a legitimate
probably
sport?
not.
Right.
Like you look at baseball. Is the guy in the dugout?
no,
Is he working a
the
shift
lowest
somewhere?
guy doesn't have
Yeah.
another job.
Yeah, it's just like the water isn't risen that high for the UFC, I guess, to have everybody afloat to be maintained by the UFC as a it's a career.
Yeah, it's a sink or swim kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel like these fighters know that
Yeah, going
when they
in.
go into it. Like, that's almost where I feel like the appeal of a PFL and the appeal of Bellator comes into play for some of these fighters, because you have to think, it's what are you looking at? Are you looking at, oh, I want to fight for the best promotion out there, even if it means I'm not going to get
So now
paid
it's
all
just
that
my
much,
career.
or am I going to go to Bellator or PFL and maybe crush all these cans in the PFL and make $1 million, or
And-
go to Bellator and have sponsors?
I was going to
good
say, and have
pay.
sponsors.
Yeah, and
Right.
just looking at it in terms of this is my career. I don't care about the greatness part of it anymore. I
Right.
just want to,
You want to fight and you want to make
my
money.
life.
Yeah.
Right. Because you only have a window as an
Yeah.
athlete to make money in the UFC.
So you're
Like you have like
40,
fucking 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
A small window.
Right.
But and also too, I feel like it's like it dissuades people from getting into MMA as a career. High level athletes
Yeah.
don't want to come to the UFC because it's like, well, if they wash out like a Brendan Schaub, he's a high enough level athlete. It's like, well, he's a decent athlete. He can just
He
didn't
had
become
some
champion.
good wins.
Right, did become champion, and like he got out of it because it wasn't worth the damage to his brain because he probably wasn't making enough.
Yeah.
He's making
Yeah.
more now doing
Yeah.
stand up. And
Way
then-
Right.
more. Stand up in his podcast, and he makes
Yeah, but
he's getting paid.
Food
That
Truck
launched
Diaries.
him.
Yeah.
That career, that MMA career, launched him into that.
Oh, well,
shit,
yeah.
Though, you know what I
Well,
mean?
Joe
Where
Rogan
would-
really helped him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who would he have ever known
Would
Joe
he
Rogan?
even
if
know
it
Oh,
him?
wasn't
right.
for
No,
UFC?
right.
And I feel like not everybody can parlay. He is the
Yeah.
best example of somebody parlaying their MMA career to make money outside the UFC. Probably
Yeah.
the best example.
Absolutely the best
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
I
so-
can't-
Well, because he had a lot of help too. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I mean, that's just like
but
circumstantial, too.
I mean, honestly though, help or not, I mean, he
Yeah, he did it.
has his fan base because of who he
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
Yeah, but like, there's not that many people that can do that. So, at the end of their MMA career, you have somebody like Diego Sanchez, who's probably going to be retired within a few years. Like he's
I
gonna,
have no idea
He's
what
gonna be a
do.
guru.
Yeah.
but like, how much fucking money, like guaranteed money, is that going to be
Yeah.
besides fighting somewhere else? If he gets
Yeah.
released from the UFC, he's going to wash up in probably some other random organization, and because he's going to need money eventually. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
There's no way he has a fucking nest egg
Yeah.
of money. Like, there's just no way.
He's giving
Right.
it to the guru.
And I do want to ask him on the podcast if he has a nest egg of money to float himself until he dies or whatever. But it's just like a sad. It's kind of sad because you see somebody like Mark Coleman who has health issues and is old, beat up, and like
Yeah.
put his life on the line. Chuck Liddell, there's no
Yeah.
reason why he should be fighting anymore. But he
Not
fought,
even as much money in it back then.
Yeah.
right. So like his fucking body's destroyed over peanuts, basically peanuts.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's move on to the next question. This one is again from Samuel J _444. And it's Jacob. Let's actually go to the UFC rankings page for this one. Who's on your cut list for the UFC's upcoming cut to downsize the roster? And I don't think we should even look at the women's side just because I don't think they have enough fighters
cut,
to
yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
No, I think if it's like people that are like fucking like what's her
People you
face.
wouldn't even know.
The real pretty woman that's got cut.
Oh, Ostovich.
Yeah, like she
Yeah.
got cut. Like people like her with like middling records.
Yeah.
It's like Hannah Cyphers and people like that. It's like
Right. I think what we should be looking for here, that's why I went to this, because just the top 15, because I think what he's really probably looking for is people that are somewhat relevant that should probably be cut from the roster. So let's just start. Honestly, flyweight, I don't think there's enough to cut anybody.
They already cut enough like last year.
Yeah. So then bantamweight, if you look through there.
No one in the top. I mean, like
Uriah Faber.
Bantamweight is just so.
Yeah.
Uriah
Uriah Faber.
Faber.
I could also see Marlon Moraes on his way out.
Yeah.
yeah, if Marlon Moraes loses another
Another
one, he
one,
probably can get cut.
Yeah.
His contract's probably pretty hefty, just based on where he was. So they don't want
Yeah.
to pay him.
Dominic Cruz doesn't necessarily need cut, but if he stopped fighting, would
Yeah.
be upset. And he has a career ahead of him with
Yeah.
ESPN.
He's
and-
fucking UFC's main man, though. He's not going to get cut in any
Yeah.
way that sours his relationship with
Yeah,
UFC.
I don't think cut
Yeah.
is right for him, but I could see Marlon and Uriah Faber for
How's
sure.
Jeremy Stevens 7, by the way?
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say.
fucked
I
up,
don't
dude.
get that.
Who's he
Cut
beat?
him.
Yeah.
I guess he beat Emmett a while back, but like I feel like he gets.
He got Cater beat him this year.
The beat him before that, I think too.
beat.
Well, I guess he has bad losses, good losses, but
So if we jump over there, that's really maybe the only name I see in that weight class is Jeremy Stevens could definitely be cut.
I feel like.
I mean, I
feel
think
like
Diego
Andre
Sanchez
Feli's
should
gonna
be
be on
cut.
his way out too.
Yeah, but Diego Sanchez should
loses,
definitely
like,
be cut.
2 more.
Yeah, Diego Sanchez should be cut for sure. But he's not listed on there. But yeah, he's a name that should be cut for sure.
right. I feel like when you go to lightweight, like Tony's in pretty bad.
Yeah, he's.
I mean,
in a
if 2 more
bad-
losses, another loss, maybe a bad loss, like he could maybe go to like PFL
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson, Ally Quinta,
Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee's
Kevin
a
Lee.
possibility.
Possibly,
And,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's hard to tell if it's being cut or them not re-signing with the UFC. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like it
Like,
looks
we're
like a
just not
cut.
But so,
Right,
yeah,
it
but
could be a
like,
mutual
let's be
agreement.
honest. Anthony Pettis is, even though it was a mutual agreement, that's probably a cut.
It just if the UFC doesn't want to pay him what he wants. Is that a cut or is that just like a business decision? You know,
Right.
is it like
Yeah.
is
I'd
it
say we'll just kind of wrap those all together because I think that's what's going to happen.
People
Some
leaving,
people won't get
yeah.
re-signed.
are
Some
gonna be
people
leaving
get cut.
anyway, and,
Yeah.
I don't know because I feel like anyone now like with like the other division other promotions coming up in notoriety a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like can I see a Dustin Poirier eventually go into Bellator if the money's right?
Yeah.
Like if he's not going to be
If
the
he
champion.
can't be the champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that in 2 years.
I mean, if
Stuff
he
like-
loses to Connor, you could see it really because at that point, where do you go? If
Right.
But I don't think that's somebody that I think we should be
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to stick
yeah.
to
Yeah,
who we
I'm
think should be cut and who might just not get re-signed.
I feel like Damian Maia should be cut.
Yeah, if you move up to welterweight, Damian Maia should be cut. I feel like Tyrone Woodley should be cut, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Robbie Lawler probably
Yeah,
should be
Woodley
cut.
for
Robbie
sure.
Lawler should be cut.
Robbie.
Woodley
Anthony
for
Pettis
sure.
is gone. That might be it for that.
Colby should be cut, but
section.
not any reasons that are
Just 'cause we don't like him.
logical, Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I feel like if Colby loses a bad loss, the UFC could fucking get rid of Colby. Only because
yeah.
I feel like he's more trouble than he's worth.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't draw enough ratings. Like he's not some huge star.
Yeah.
I feel like has an inflated sense of like stardom.
His value.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like he has less fucking Instagram followers than a lot of UFC fighters, and he
Yeah.
tries harder than most people.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know.
his Instagram posts are so cringy.
Chris Weidman. Out
Yeah. Middleweight, Chris Weidman for
I feel
sure.
like Kyle's gonna fucking throw a party when he's cut.
Brad Tavares could
You know,
be cut.
Uriah Hall.
Omari
if
Akhmedov could be
if
cut.
Uriah Hall loses another fight, that's
Well, he just-
somebody. I know he beat Silva but like.
Yeah, and I think he's still actually kind of entertaining to watch most of the time. He's got some really
if he
high
loses
level
another
striking.
one, man, it's like Jesus Christ.
But I'd
Like-
say that's a possibility too. But yeah, I think
Calvin is pretty close too.
I was
actually.
just gonna say Calvin's on the chopping block. I feel like.
it's so weird to say because he just put on such a great
Who's he fighting
performance in a
again? I forget,
championship fight. I don't remember, but yeah, that's a possibility. But Chris Weidman, big time. Brad Tavares. I mean, does he even fight anymore anyway?
He's fighting against Trueface like next
Oh
month.
yeah, and then
Omari
Omari
Jr.
Akhmedov. Yeah,
He can go back to
Shogun
fucking
is
taxi
done,
cab
right?
driving.
yeah,
and
light
whatever.
heavyweight. Yeah, Shogun.
Shogun should just retire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should just be done.
Fucking Ryan Spawn, if he loses, like
Yeah,
he's a
Johnny Walker.
If he
Honestly, if he
loses-
gets knocked out 10 more times in one fight.
dude. They should keep Johnny Walker on and just give him whatever. Like give him however low ball contract they can give him.
It's entertaining.
I'd rather watch Johnny Walker fight than most light heavyweights, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch 10 more Johnny Walker fights that are train wrecks than Shogun fight ever again in my life.
Yeah.
Or even like Jimmy Crute's good. I mean,
Ozdemir, if
Ian
he ain't gonna
Heinich.
fight,
yeah, Ian Heinisch should be cut. Like
That's the fight that Kelvin's.
you can
Oh,
cut
yeah.
You
Yeah.
can cut Ozdemir if he's not gonna fight anyway.
Honestly, Kutabala, I wouldn't be shocked. Kutalaba.
Kutalaba, yeah.
like decent. Or no, he was the one. Yeah, it was the other guy that whipped his ass.
yeah, he's and plus like he's an asshole. So if he gets cut,
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy that Onkalov is still ranked a lot lower than Kutalaba on their website. Then again, Conor McGregor was also listed number 1 for pound, so
Yeah. They were just trying to piss Khabib off.
Get him back
They were
out of
trying to
retirement.
lure him out, dude.
get him back out.
all right, move down heavyweight.
All right, dude. I told you Hardy could be like sent somewhere else for a while, and
for sure.
only because like
Junior Dos Santos.
Junior Dos Santos,
dude,
for
that's
sure.
the most obvious one I've seen in a while.
The most obvious, especially with how he's acting now.
Yeah.
Sadly, because we all are fans of Walt Harris because of everything he's had to go through. But Walt Harris, and honestly, as crazy as it sounds, Gustafsson.
Goose just needed to not come out of retirement.
Right.
Yeah, he probably should have just stayed.
And
Chilled.
Latifi, how is he ranked number 6 in heavyweight?
what?
Yeah.
That can't be real.
Dana White, fix this fucking website.
The only fight he's had at heavyweight is losing to Derek Lewis. Then he lost 2 more before that light heavyweight.
He's above Derek.
And he's above Derek Lewis.
Jesus. Wow, dude.
Oh my god!
It's like it has to be like a joke.
Yeah.
Latifi has to run the website from his home in fucking wherever he's from. He has to be hacking into the website.
A child has control of the website.
And honestly, somebody I didn't see listed anywhere, Jacare Souza.
How is Latifi above Overeem?
That's just insane.
Like-
Volkov.
Yeah, like
How's he above any of those fucking
And
people?
some of these names are people that I wouldn't really say like they should cut them, but it's like in economic hardship times times you're trying to trim down.
It seems likely.
Those are
Yeah, like-
kind of the guys.
Blagoy Ivanovov.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Get
no.
out of here.
Go.
Yeah, let's just find some new people.
Yeah. Open a fucking pizzeria or whatever. Fucking open something. Like, go do something else.
Right.
Or like go fight. Like they could easily go to PFL and like pad out their heavyweight division. Like if Walt Harris showed up at PFL, I'd be like, okay, cool, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I wouldn't be like up in arms about it.
Let's move on to the next one. I think we pretty much covered that. The next one is from A_Tate 1821. Predictions on who holds belts in each weight class this time next year. We're gonna, instead of everybody talking over each other on this one, let's move up to the top again. We'll just start flyweight. Nicolette champion this time next year.
I think Cody Garbrandt.
Fig.
Fig.
I'm gonna probably say Fig as well.
Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna throw a hopeful one out
Cody
there.
It'd be awesome to see Cody. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, but I just
Plus, it's not up in the air whether or not Cody even goes to that division now.
That's
Yeah, I don't
it's
even know
both.
if that's
That's
gonna
true.
happen,
If obviously if Cody doesn't go down there, then Fig
Yeah.
for sure.
honestly, my second choice would probably be Moreno.
Really?
I mean, Moreno could beat Cody, dude. He has a great
looked
chin.
fucking
Yeah,
good
that
against.
In
that could be a good matchup.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
next?
So
She's
next-
going next?
Yeah, next bantamweight, Nicolette. Yeah, this one's actually Jose Aldo's number 1.
My heart wants to say Sterling, but I don't know. I think Jan might hold it for a while.
I think Sterling, only because I feel like Jan, he hasn't even beat the best competition in the division.
True.
Sterling, without a doubt.
But he's good. Jan's good.
It's
Yeah.
that's such a toss up. Like I'm stuck between the two of them. Like it could be either or.
I think I actually say Jan as well. I think the main reason, I was watching some highlights of Aljamain Sterling, and his grappling is obviously next level. His striking isn't really fantastic.
It's gotten better. So it
Yeah.
depends what highlights you watch because it's gotten better against his last 2 fights have been really good.
Yeah.
He's become a good distance striker. He's good at
He's
distance.
he's like really long for the division. He's like kind of lanky.
It just looks kind of awkward, and Peter Jan actually is got great striking.
Right. But he was also dropped by Dotson, who's a power puncher, but like,
Yeah.
if you're dropped by Dotson, it's all.
Small guy. Too.
Yeah, I feel, it's hard to tell because his competition isn't the best. Aldo, he beat Aldo, but
I feel
Aldo.
like Aljamain's gonna work him on the ground.
Yeah, I guess I need to see more of like Peter Jan even.
Yeah.
As a champion.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to featherweight.
T-City. Ortega.
I'd say Volk. I still think he'll be champion.
I'm gonna go with Ortega too.
T-City. Yeah.
That
I think
performance was amazing.
Yeah, if he can reenact that performance even partially, I think he looks pretty.
And then
Tough
he
to
can
beat.
always bounce. He can always rely on his jiu-jitsu, like his
Well,
jiu. Like you
that's what I'm
can't.
saying.
You can't. You can't compete with Brian on the ground.
I don't know. I feel like he's got submissions, but it's not like he's been totally dominant. He's been on the ground, people, and not submitted them.
The
I'm not
problem
sure
with
about
him
that
is
one,
getting
though.
takedown. He's getting them
Terrible
to the ground.
takedowns.
Mhm.
So then lightweight, I'm going to go ahead and assume that we all are in agreement. If he does not end up sticking to his retirement, we would all say Khabib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's assume that he does retire. Nicolette.
As much as I fuck.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it and I don't want it to come true, Conor's probably gonna be fucking champion again.
Kevin Lee.
I'm going to need you to leave this fucking house.
Kevin Lee paid me $200 to say this on the podcast.
Cameo.
Yeah. He cameoed me.
Like I want Dustin. Like I think Dustin's gonna beat Conor, but
like
this
Dustin
time
deserves
this time next year, I think Conor could find a way to weasel his fucking way back in there.
I think
Weasel's a little strong.
Fiore deserves it. I feel like.
Dude, Oliveira
Dustin
though.
is one of the Dustin is the one at lightweight that I feel like it just is so. I just like him as a person.
Yeah,
like he's hard
he
to root
deserves
against.
it.
He's just a
Yeah,
wholesome
he's
person.
He's like the fucking mirror image of Conor.
So we all
It's
think
like literally-
McGregor is going to be the lightweight
No,
champion.
no. I think Oliveira actually, dark horse. I'm gonna say. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, man.
yeah, I don't know. It's just when
I think it's
Conor
McGregor,
gets
though.
reinserted back into the mix, it just kind of
Yeah.
fucks.
Conor
with
will have more
everything.
opportunities to become champion
You're
in the
saying
mist.
Oliveira though?
Yeah. Just like a dark horse. I don't.
Yeah,
he could
I
get
mean,
knocked out,
to
but-
me, that's the other guy besides Conor that's got the path to it.
Yeah.
But I think I think he's going to be the champion because I think he's going to beat Fiore, and I think they're just going to give him the belt.
Yeah.
They're going to.
Yeah, like he's gonna have more opportunities.
But we're also talking about this time next year.
Yeah.
So
well,
he'll have
but he
probably
won't
more.
fight for another year.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, he'll
fucking
hold
go
up the
fight Manny
division again.
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He'll probably win the title and go vacate it and go fight Pacquiao.
Honestly, I think
No.
Khabib won't fight, and they're going to leave that belt on him in hopes that he comes back
Yeah.
because he's still the champion
So-
right now.
Even though I'm a Conor McGregor fan, I think I'm almost going to say sadly as well. I do believe Conor McGregor. I think his striking, if they strike with him, I think he beats Gaethje.
Yeah.
If he strictly strikes with him, I think he probably beats Poirier. But I could also see Charles becoming just as dominant of a champion as Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's just a matter of whether or not he gets that opportunity
Right.
in that time frame.
To me, like Conor's definitely gonna be closer to a title shot regardless of anyone in the division.
Yeah.
He's gonna be his next fight could be made a title shot right now, and he could be champion.
Yeah,
in a month.
but I really can see Charles Oliveira being the next massive dominant champion.
Yeah, I just like his last fights. Like it's weird because like he looked great against Sony, but like you just can never. I can never put it past. Just like if Conor goes to the ground, I can never put it past him like getting choked out and giving up.
Yeah,
Charles too, he's given up before. You can't tell. Like it's always been in the back of my mind any fight because like I've never seen Poirier give up in the same way that Oliveira's given up. He's
Yeah.
been choked out, knocked
Right.
out, but like the heart of somebody.
yeah.
That's very important to me. Like in terms of like assessing matchups. Yeah,
Yeah.
and being dominant too.
Right.
Like Khabib's never given up ever.
Yeah.
You know, obviously.
yeah,
But like some fighters have that. Some fighters have that question mark, and some don't.
yeah.
Because like fucking like Paul Felder, would he ever give up in the way like that Conor got choked out by? You know what I mean? Shot
Yeah.
for panic takedown or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing against Conor, but you know.
Yeah. All right, so welterweight, Nicolette.
Kamaru.
I'm gonna say Burns.
You think he beats Kamaru?
Yeah.
Usman.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. He's a bad matchup for Kamaru. He has better striking than Kamaru for sure,
Yeah.
and his BJJ is the best in the division besides Damian Maia's. So unless he gets clinched against the cage,
Which is what I think is exactly is going to happen. I feel
Yeah.
like Usman has a good way of being able to do that.
Yeah.
but then fucking Burns did that same exact thing to Woodley and fucked him up more than
Yeah,
Usman did.
Yeah.
Like and like maybe it's a diminished Woodley,
Yeah.
but he looked way more impressive in his victory against Woodley.
I mean, I think if Burns can't get past Usman, then Usman's definitely going to be the champion this time next year.
Yeah.
Like,
what about wait? You guys
And
aren't saying
then-
Hamzat?
And then,
well, yeah.
and
Fuck.
then I'm actually going to say Conor McGregor. No.
Kevin Lee,
Yeah.
Kevin Lee double champion next year.
Honestly, I actually very much thought about saying Khamzat, but it really depends on what I see him do in the Leon Edwards fight.
Yeah.
That's really it. I watched a Khamzat fight from before he was in the UFC today, and while he's definitely improved since then, but he didn't look great in the fight, honestly. But he just touched the dude. It didn't even look like it was that good of
Yeah,
an
I seen that
uppercut, and he knocked him out
It
cold.
was a weird strike too.
Yeah, he didn't even look like his feet were fully planted, and he knocked him out cold.
Right.
I mean, the guy. I mean, who knows who the fuck the guy was, but still.
That's what I'm saying.
So I just like the idea of picking somebody so crazy, and Kamzat, I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
There you go.
So then we go to middleweight.
This is where it's gonna get fucky
Yeah,
because
it's
of
weird.
everything that's going on
Yeah.
between
Is
the
Izzy
two
gonna be
divisions
champion?
right now. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, is there going to be a double champ? Or
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the same thing. If we think Israel stays down there,
I think Israel beats everybody in the division.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stays
Izzy
it.
then.
same,
Yeah.
same. I'm going to agree. So let's say if he's gone.
Actually, I'm gonna say fucking Vittori.
remember that Marvin
Well,
Vittori, yeah.
If he does go
Not
up to
a Whitaker.
lightweight and wins the
I'd like to
title,
see-
does he plan to hold both belts or like?
I don't
are
know.
they
We
Yeah,
don't
gonna
know.
that's the
That's the
thing,
question
yeah.
mark. So we're saying if he plans to hold both, he's going to be it.
Yeah, he's gonna hold it.
He's going to hold it. But if he's not,
Yeah, if he
Yeah,
vacates
Vittori.
it,
I'd like to see Darren Till. I just don't think it'll
No.
happen.
then Whitaker.
Whitaker
you
or
think
Vittori?
Whitaker?
Yeah.
I actually agree. It's either Whitaker or Vittori.
I'd pick Vittori over Whitaker. I think now at the point of Whitaker,
I
how
think-
he's been kind of.
I don't know. He's easily the second best striker besides Izzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and like even with Vittori, he has a lot more dynamic striking. But like the grappling of Vittori,
Yeah, I think.
And this is a whole year in advance too,
right.
so it depends on the advances or declines.
because I feel like though that Whitaker is a good matchup against Vittori because his takedown defense is immaculate. It's
Yeah.
always been the best.
yeah.
Like he's like the perfect anti-wrestler. So if he stuffs Vittori's takedowns, he could probably output him on the feet. Because I thought he was going to get washed up by Cannonier. I thought he was going to get knocked out, and he looked pretty good on the feet against
Yeah.
Cannonier. And Cannonier's a good
But he
striker.
does have,
Yeah.
he is a good striker. But we also found out that Cannonier's
Yeah.
arm was
He's
broke.
not gonna be throwing those.
broke it,
punches
though.
The whole
Yeah.
fight.
broke that shit.
But it's still different. It might be a different
Yeah.
Right.
result if that arm doesn't get broken. I think I'm gonna say Vittori too because while Robert Whitaker has pretty good boxing and he does have the good takedown defense, he also sometimes backs straight up and straightforward.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can see some holes being exposed with that kind of style.
Right.
He's like a rusher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also like I noticed that Vittori, his head movement wasn't great at times in that fight against Hermanson. He looked great. He looked good.
Yeah.
But like, there's also holes too with
Yeah.
that. Like, it just depends on. It's them too for sure. I think.
Yeah.
though.
So light heavyweight.
Oh well, that's
This is
the
the-
thing.
this
Is this
is-
if Izzy
Well,
wins?
no, I think you. I think this one you can say it's either Izzy
Yeah.
or whoever. I don't think we have to do a question mark on this
no,
one.
I guess you're right. Probably. I think Izzy knocks out Jan when they fight. I just do. He's too precise and too good.
Best striker in the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like
I'm
Izzy's
going with
probably gonna
Izzy.
be.
Yeah.
Double champ.
Izzy outpoints him, I think.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying Jan.
there you go. I want it to be on. Really.
Yeah.
I would like to see like if it's not Izzy, I'd like to see Glover get the title before he retires.
Yeah, that'd be awesome
He's
to see.
easy to root for too.
You
Yeah.
think Yuri Priaka will make
He's-
his way up in there?
I don't know. I hope so. I like Yuri.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Like, it's- I don't
I
know-
think it's tough for him to get the title in a year's time.
No,
though.
Yeah.
well, no, I'm
Yeah.
not talking in a year's time.
Yeah.
Just in general, like.
Yeah, like I mean, like it's division's gonna be really coagulated in the next few months. It's gonna
Yeah.
be really weird to have Glover on deck, sort of as the number one contender. Izzy trying to get the title. If Izzy wins, now you have to see, well, does he get back to middleweight and defend that title?
Yeah, John Jones is in the mix.
John Jones is gonna be pissed off.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Yeah.
this is the
Hard.
most confusing title situation in a year. That
It
Yeah.
even creeps into heavyweight.
I know.
Yeah,
We
so
just
now-
got over
so now let's
frickin'
go into
lightweight
heavyweight.
being all jacked up, and now we have to deal with middleweight and freaking light heavyweight being jacked.
So heavyweight, Nicolette.
And Ngannou will probably be champ by then.
Sakai. No, I'm just joking. Just like some random person on top. Watch all my random Kevin Lee and Sakai.
Yeah, it
Fucking
happens.
beat ass all year and get the title in December. I'm gonna say Ngannou.
Stipe.
I am going to also say Ngannou.
As much as I want it to be Stipe, I just
I like
I-
to see Overeem.
Yeah,
I-
I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
that'd
seeing
be
him go
cool.
out like that.
yeah.
All right, so we could probably fly through these pretty quick. So first we'll start with women's strawweight. Come on, there's like two people to pick from.
Well, yeah, but I just always like I don't
Three
know.
actually, probably three now.
Yeah.
I always think Rose can always be inserted into a mix, but I don't know. Probably Probably Whaley.
I'd say Whaley. I feel like her cardio is better than Rose's. Rose's cardio kind of fails her in the third round.
Yeah, that Yawn, she's getting pretty good too, though.
Jan, yeah.
But Joanna also arguably beat Wiley, so
That's true.
Yeah, so like
I just don't think Joanna will ever be champion.
no
again.
matchup wise, she probably won't
No,
get back to that title before next year.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's Rose.
I'm saying Rose as well.
I want it to be Rose.
Yeah, I want Rose too.
Yeah. All right. So women's flyweight. What do you guys think?
Shevchenko.
Okay. Well, how about you?
Jessica eyes. Yeah. I mean, Shevchenko literally. If you ask me the next 5 years if she's still an active fighter, if she's the new champion of that division,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. The future and forever champ Shevchenko.
Yeah.
Retires with the belt.
Shevchenko. All right. Wyndham's bantamweight. Wyndham's bantamweight. What do you got?
Definitely Nunes, as long as she's
Wait,
still
was-
there. If
Was
not,
Amanda up there again?
Yeah.
That was pound for pound.
Oh, okay. I was like,
If
but she's
not-
got 3 now?
Yeah.
I could see Jermaine Durand,
Yeah.
cashing that title if she doesn't continue to
If she
defend
vacates
bantamweight.
one or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, if she retires, then it's like I don't know, probably Holly
Holly
Holm
Holm.
or
Yeah.
Jermaine Vandermeer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Durand, beats Holly Holm.
Yeah, I think so too.
She cheated a lot in that fight. That fight was like dirty as fuck. Man. I remember she like was hitting her after the
Yeah.
bell and shit. But yeah, I think she beats her too. I think Nunes for both his divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's not anybody listed for featherweight,
Yeah.
so
Which is crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody's beating Nunes. Unless she retires, there won't be another champion.
And I completely agree.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap this up with our picks of the year. We're doing. I don't think we should try to get all agree on the same one. So we'll just go through and say best KO of the year, and let's start on the opposite side of the table this time.
Thank
Kyle.
God.
It was hard. It's like a 3-way tie. Garbrandt, Holland, and then what's his name with the spin kick?
Buckley.
Buckley.
Ultimately, Garbrandt. Just the way it looks, it's just
I'm with
it's
you.
just so impressive. And like it launched him from like potentially like, man, is this dude washing out, to like now you're in all these premier fights, like or
Yeah.
talked
Talking
about in
about
these
it
premier
again,
fights.
And I feel
Yeah.
like between the 3 too, because those were my 3 that I was going back and forth with. Cody's was more like Buckley. Yeah, he
It's like a
spun and
movie.
kicked him, and it was like okay,
Yeah.
like that's a good thing to do. But does someone ever really get knocked out like that? No.
Yeah.
Garbrandt's was more of I see what you're doing. I'm going to plan what I'm going to do next based on your tendencies, and he just ducked down
And
and unloaded
It was literally like a moment from a movie. Like
We all knew
just-
you were
it
picking Cody.
Played out in slow mo. It played out in slow mo. He winded up for it.
Yeah.
Pow! Like it was beautiful, dude. I love that one.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Garbrandt. I had to go with Garbrandt.
Yeah.
It was actually like I was just talking about the Yuri Peralta knockout we just saw. Like
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Wait,
Yeah.
there was another knockout on that Garbrandt fight. Who
It
was
was
it?
Sean O'Malley versus Eddie Wine.
Yeah,
was it
that
Eddie
was a
Wine?
good one, too.
But
Yeah, I feel like that was
not
just
of the year, but
right.
Yeah.
great one.
For me, I'm actually picking Chaos Williams versus Al Hassan, and
Yeah.
I'm picking it because
This
to
is
me that was the
scary.
most devastating one.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
that
was
guy.
dead.
Yeah, he was out for
It's true.
12, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like out cold.
Yeah.
Forgot
To
about
me,
that.
it was the most violent knockout
You guys
I've
did-
seen in a long time.
Hamzat versus.
No. So then, by the way, I do want to say I think the only stupid pick for who would have the title this time next year was my Kamzat pick. That was the only dumb one. The rest of them were all
have it.
they're all okay.
It's
It
very
could
real
happen, but it
possibility.
wasn't a great
It's a
pick.
reach
Yeah.
though.
But I'm keeping it.
It's like it's a bet. It's
Yeah.
a very, very flimsy bet.
And my number 2 that I had in there, the only other one I was considering was Kevin Holland, just because I've never seen anything like that.
Oh yeah, that was
No.
crazy.
Yeah.
But it was just like that was like a TKO though. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it was like a TKO too.
Yeah.
It's
Which
why
is the same
it's
thing.
why Chaos won for me because that was
Yeah.
just he flatlined
Holland,
that guy.
that's why Hollins didn't get
Yeah.
knockout of the year for me too. Was it?
Al Hassan might not ever be the same.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's awake.
Yeah.
I don't have any
He
proof.
might still be asleep. Yeah. So move on to best submission of the year. Let's start with you this time, Brandon.
I'm actually gonna do AJ McKee versus Darion Caldwell from Bellator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
Uh,
forgot about that one.
I did too.
That was a good one.
That was actually a really good one.
Yeah, and like it was fairly high level. So like none of the other submissions I could think of. I told Kyle in the car on the way up. The Jimmy Flick flying triangle
Yeah,
from
just had
2 weeks ago or whatever
Yeah.
last week. That was pretty cool, but like that was against like whatever competition.
Not
I know.
enough riding on it.
Yeah, Darion Caldwell's pretty good, you know. But then also is a unique submission as well.
Yeah.
Khabib, Gaethje.
Yeah, that was a good one. I actually had a couple different ones. Mackenzie Dern's knee bar against Hannah Cyphers was
a good one.
really good. Ariana Lipsky had a knee bar that was completely like had her
Get to the
opponent
men already.
literally. No, go
Turkey.
fuck off.
Go fuck off.
I thought Aljo versus Sandhagen. Aljo's submission.
I forgot about that
Corey
one, too.
Sandhagen was pretty good.
Yeah.
If you look at every website, though, they have that Brian Kelleher versus I can't remember his name as the #1 submission of the year.
Can't be that good then.
I can't remember a guy's name.
But also,
But both of those knee bars were honestly my favorite.
Oliveira versus Kevin Lee was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
a pretty
one that was up in there.
pivotal submission.
The one I actually picked was the Lipsky.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, she had that thing straight.
Yeah.
up.
I was like, she's
Oh.
going to snap her leg in half.
Yeah.
Oh.
Would you pick? Oh, yeah, you picked Gaethje.
Dern-
Khabib, I picked Khabib because like just the pure like dominant. He's like, I'm going to submit you now. Like
Yeah.
it was just like he imposed his will at the minute he wanted to.
Yeah.
Dern's knee bar for me, it was how she was like. I can't stand her, but her jiu-jitsu is just so good. The way
It's a
that she
beautiful
just
thing to watch.
flows
Yeah.
through motions and she can just find it and lock it up. Like that was definitely up there for me in the subs.
The only reason I didn't pick Gaethje though too is like Mikal
He
mentioned.
offers no resistance.
Yeah, like it's
so-
like
Yeah.
I could submit a child too. Like,
yeah.
I can spit babies all day.
yeah. It is, if Gaethje's shown a different level of like ground game before the fight,
Yeah.
and then we sort of had a different level, like understanding that his ground game was actually good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or just like it was unknown, and then this like dog shit. Like it was
Yeah.
just like there was no in between with his like understanding
Yeah.
of his ground game. So like that wasn't as impressive just because I feel like the resistance wasn't there, and like if he did it against Ferguson, because Ferguson has
Yeah.
a more esteemed ground game, or even like an Oliveira, that'd be
But
amazing.
that's kind of why
Yeah.
I picked it.
'Cause he just ran through it
because
like
it was
fucking-
just like I'm,
yeah.
I'm coming and I'm gonna submit you now.
And it was kind of cool that
Yeah.
he even said afterwards, like he went to a different submission than he originally was going to go for.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's still a great submission though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but
So, all right. So, fight of the year. Let's start with you again, Kyle.
It would be Joanna versus Zhang.
I'm actually gonna go. I changed my mind from Kyle. Hooker versus Poirier.
That's mine.
Yeah, I feel like that was a.
great
That's
fight.
yours too.
Yeah, as much as I think that Weili versus Joanna is definitely like it's a classic, no doubt about it. It was a great fight. Just the way that it's just the things that second like round of the year for me is round 2 of Poirier versus Hooker.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nuts.
Like that
Yeah,
round
great.
had me on the edge of my seat because I really like Dustin Poirier. So
he was almost out.
as soon as I was like, oh fuck, this is done, and then
Yeah.
they come back and put on that was just such a good fight.
And I feel like the Wiley, it doesn't have like it's more of a sort of a stable sort of competition. Like there wasn't many peaks and valleys as
Yeah.
like even a
They're
Moreno
both on the
versus Fig.
same. That's
Yeah.
why I love it though. They're both on the same level the whole time, back and forth.
Right.
Right, it's definitely
Yeah,
gonna
it's
go down as a classic fight
For sure,
Yeah.
probably the best women's fight ever, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But
Easily.
good.
Mine is Weili versus Joanna, and my honorable mention is actually Fig versus Moreno.
Yeah, I
That's
said
an
that too in the
honorable
car.
mention too, yeah.
There's 3: the Hooker, Poirier, Wiley versus Joanna, and Fig versus Brady.
That Weili versus Joanna was just so crazy to me, and it was so crazy how different Joanna looked
Yeah.
after the fight.
Wow.
I know.
It
Like
was
the Predator.
yeah, it was insane.
I don't like how indecisive that like it's like no one really won, no one really
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah,
I didn't like that
That's
because
hard.
it's less compelling. There's like the storyline was great in some ways and also not as intriguing as like a Poirier versus Hooker, which is like you know who won.
Yeah.
It was, but they gave each other hell. So
Yeah.
like the
Whereas
definitives.
It was a war.
Joanna
Yeah.
Zhang, I actually felt like Joanna won the fight.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
And the draw versus Moreno versus Fig too is like fucking draw. Like yeah,
Right.
fucking
Yeah,
draw. You
but
know.
still so epic.
Oh yeah, great
No,
fight.
for sure.
But so then I was going to go on to Fighter of the Year, but I saw you have on here, was this Event of the Year?
Yeah, and I'm gonna change that. So what I had picked, but yeah, I was like looking up like different things to do, and I thought like pay-per-view of the year, and there was 2 of them. UFC 251 had Jan versus Aldo, and then it had Max versus Volk and Masvidal versus Usman. So that was a really good card. But my favorite actually was 249, and that was, I believe it's Henry Cejudo, and then Calvin fought Jeremy on that card. And then I'm drawing a blank on who the headliner of that pay-per-view was. It was Cejudo
49.
and
Can you look up UFC 249 real quick?
yeah.
I was gonna ask like what you guys thought was the worst fight of the year.
Oh, Romero versus Izzy, easily.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even
Yeah.
so much that it was so lackluster, but it was the fact that we thought it was going to be fucking fireworks.
It's Tony
and it wasn't.
Ferguson, Gaethje,
That's what it was.
and Ngannou was on there.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
great
this
card.
was a really good card.
Yeah, these top 4 fights are pretty good.
My hands down, I think it might be my favorite fight card that I've ever watched in my life was the most recent one, from top to bottom.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, I was
really
gonna
good
say
card.
Fig Moreno is probably the best.
From the early prelim to the
Yeah.
prelims to the main event, every fight was
Yeah.
fucking fire.
You mean Wonderboy versus Neal, right?
No, the most recent pay per view.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Most
They
recent
closed out the
pay-per-view.
year with a hell of a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even expect that card to be that good.
Right.
I did not. But literally, like every other fight, I was like, "Oh, this is getting fight of the
And
night."
not only
Oh wait,
that-
no, this is
Yeah.
getting fight
Not
of
only
the
that,
night.
but everybody who I wanted to win, like, won. So
Yeah.
it was like great fights, great night of fights. Everybody, like, I wasn't disappointed with anybody who beat somebody I wanted to see win.
That was a
It's a great
brutal
night.
KO, too.
Yeah, I forgot about
He had
that.
zero respect for Rosenstrike. He just walked right at him,
To
throwing
look
big
at this,
haymakers.
I don't think Francis Ngannou's whole career has, like, been less than a minute in the fucking octagon.
Yeah, it's
for
like
his loss of Stipe.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
25 minutes of just being tired.
But, like, recently, it's just been, like,
5
in
minutes
the
of fighting.
first
Yeah.
fucking round.
He spent a half hour in the cage total. Like,
But yeah, that most recent pay per view to me was maybe my favorite fight card.
They
I've
should
ever
feed
watched.
JDS to Francis again to keep him busy.
or just get him out of there.
Yeah.
So, what would your pick be for event?
Probably the most recent one, the most recent pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's the one that popped out in my mind
Yeah.
when I thought about it. 'Cause it's hard to, it sort of run together. Like a lot of the Fight Night cards and pay-per-views,
Yeah.
if you watch
Yeah.
most of them, it's
Yeah.
like things pop out more than others in the last one.
Yeah, I've
Really
just
good.
never seen a
Yeah.
card from top to bottom be that good.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is
it
a really
was
good
the
one.
best one from top to bottom. Recency bias aside, I think it was.
Yeah.
so.
I mean, the worst fight on there was Tisha Torres' fight, and she looked fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that was just like a
Yeah.
squash match. The only reason it wasn't good
Yeah.
because it was just like not competitive.
Yeah. And it ended after the first round from eye damage or something.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're going to move on to Fighter of the Year, and we will start with you this time, Nicolette.
Why don't we start with you? You haven't
Okay.
started one.
I'm,
you, Nicolette.
I'm going to say, for me, Fighter of the Year, and a big part of it is the rise that he had this year, is Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Holland, just because his stock is astronomically larger than it was when he started
Right.
this year.
I'm gonna go with Fig, and my reasoning is because he headlined 2 pay-per-views for the flyweight division, and there has been 4 in this whole past year, which is like unheard of considering the fact that the flyweight division was on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So we can say maybe like Henry Cejudo saved flyweights,
But
but
Fig
Fig's
really did,
carried
yeah.
that shit on his
Yeah.
back ever since.
Yeah.
So I'm going with him. I mean, he gave us 2 great fucking title fights. One was just him completely out getting the sub and doing it quick, and the other one was a war. So I'm going with him. And Kevin Holland, though, like definitely is. He's done great for himself this past year. I mean, 5 wins, like that's crazy.
His
But-
and Fig was actually my honorable mention.
Yeah, I'd say Kevin Holland too. Thinking about it, only because I feel like Fig missed weight in one of his fights that kind of put the damper on it. But the level of competition that he fought is higher than Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
But Kevin Holland also, he grinded it out with like pure volume of fights.
Yeah,
And it like just got better and like
it's respectable as shit.
yeah.
And
like,
he literally went from complete obscurity, nobody knew who the fuck he was, to now
Yeah.
like he's somebody that people are really excited to see fight.
yeah, and I feel like Fig is like that too. But too, I feel like there's more potential for Kevin Holland to break out as a star because the division's more packed and more lauded and,
Yeah.
and respected amongst the MMA community and the mainstream too.
Yeah.
It's like Fig can only be so big as a flyweight. Nothing against him, but like he's as big as he's gonna be. But like
Yeah.
it's hard to make a star out of Fig. He doesn't speak as much English. Kevin Holland's brash, like and you have a sort of a rival with Izzy. If Izzy's still champion and he works his way up, that fight's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a back and forth talking, and it's just gonna be a way different level. So
Yeah.
Mine is Kamzat for all the reasons that you've given it to Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I mean, like to go from complete obscurity to you're now going to fight Leon Edwards.
And you're
Yeah.
ranked 35 in your
Yeah,
division or
I
something
mean,
crazy.
And just the highlight really put on. I mean, I don't get me wrong, Kevin Holland and Fig, those are the 3 guys, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah, I
The
think
fighter of the
Kamzat
year.
might have been my third, but I think I give it to Holland again over Kamzat.
Because of the volume of fights.
not just not just the volume, but even though Holland's level of competition wasn't great, Khamzat's level of competition was even worse.
Yeah. And also too,
and he fought 3 times, not 5.
And now the UFC, like Kevin Holland called out Khamzat, so like I'm not saying that has any influence on that, but also like Khamzat sort of lost has been because the big gap between
at
fights.
the end of the year, he's lost a little bit where Holland's is
right.
Like,
now, if Khamzat, because that fight with Leon Edwards was supposed to happen this year, and he would have won that fight, it would have been him without a doubt, like without question. Like you beat the number 4 guy from the position 35.
I'm kind of like giving him that too. The fact that he has the fight. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he's going to win it, but even to get there in that short amount of time, it speaks volumes. Like,
yeah. But it's also, it has to be just based on like who he fought. It has to be a little bit inflated by the UFC. It just has to be just based on like I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but like it's sort of like I feel like the hard work of Holland's hard work, sort of it means more merit to me. I feel like Khamzat did what he's supposed to do.
Holland for sure.
Yeah, like he did what he's supposed to do against the competition he faced, and he blew him out of the water, and that's impressive in its own right. But like the cage time. The wins that were not so good. Holland won like the Darren Stewart fight. It wasn't that great. He knew it wasn't that great. Came back, looked great in his next fight. Yeah. So that improvement and that sort of struggle to make the year successful the way he did means a lot to me.
No, he's definitely he's a rising star for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, I believe that is all we have. There are no fights next week, so we won't even preview those here. But then we have, here in a little while, a couple of weeks, we have a whole lot of fights coming up really close together.
Coming back at you.
So those might be some long episodes. I'm not sure how long this one was. It was fun. Hopefully we do more quote-unquote fan questions in the future. And thanks, guys, for a great year. Nicolette, thanks for joining the team. Brandon, thanks for joining the team because you guys were both additions this year. Actually, we were probably just started this year.
Yeah, we were only 4 in.
Thank you guys for starting the team to join the team.
Yeah, this is nice to have an outlet to talk because Jesus Christ, when I'm out and people are like, "Hey, what do you think?" I'm like, "Don't get me fucking started."
It's hard to talk
I'll
to people.
Shut up. I won't shut up.
Know much. I mean, the people that are casual fans, you're just like.
See, that's not my problem. My problem is I won't stop talking.
And Jacob, thank you for everything you've done this year for all the podcasts. And because this might be the last podcast of the year, obviously, so
might be. We're doing one. We're doing one.
Well, I mean, for all of my stuff.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for everything you do, Jacob. Appreciate you. And
everybody listening.
Yeah, appreciate all the fans out there. And Happy New Year. This is the MMA Fools. We're getting the fuck out of here.